Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Welcome everybody. Christine, are you excited for this?
I am so excited. Oh my goodness, this is like my favorite day of the year right here.
This is it. The full day summit. Giver Marketing Network comes together. Our members bring their A game. They share a little bit of their story, some topic that would help you, whoever you are listening right now, with marketing, communication, media, PR, technology of some kind to support your cause or company doing good in the world. We are a group that helps causes and companies really enhance or modernize their marketing, communication, media efforts. Okay. So if that's you, get ready, buckle up, take some notes, and we're going to jump in with some really good speakers today. We have about a dozen speakers. Is that right, Christine? Something like that?
Absolutely. We've got some fascinating topics too, just such a wide range, all intent on building your marketing for 2025. So let's have some fun. Let's go.
2025 and beyond, as they say. So this is going to be good. Feel free to put comments in the section wherever you're watching here, wherever you're watching this streaming or recorded. Let us know where you're watching from, no matter what time it is, where it is, what's going on. We want to know where you're watching from, so we can say hi to you. And maybe there's somebody else in the comments to say, hey, I'm from that area, or I know somebody from that area. And we want to be able to start talking and connecting and networking in that way. Speaking of networking, Christine, can you share with us what's going to be happening kind of in the middle of our summit today?
Absolutely. We've got a bunch of speakers in the first half, and then we're going to do a networking event in the middle. It's going to be a special networking event that's just for our summit. So if this is something you're interested in hanging out, come get to know some other business owners, nonprofits, and others in the space that want to network and get to know you. Right. So hang out. I'm going to drop the link in comments. This way anybody can click on that and go register for our networking event.
Great. So go to givermarketing.com/connect if you want to be a part of that networking that happens at 11:15 a.m. Pacific. Just after 11 a.m. Pacific, you want to start jumping in there, getting ready, getting yourself all situated on Zoom. It's going to be a Zoom event, and we're going to have lots of fun just getting to know each other, sharing stories, connecting, and some other things that you won't want to miss. That'll be a good part of our summit this year. So really, that was a big hit last year. So we brought that back as a big part of what we're doing this year. So, hey, with that, anything else housekeeping wise, Christine, that you want to mention top of the summit?
Well, so this is going to be the first half, then we'll break out into the Zoom room halfway through, and then we're going to come broadcast again. So there's going to be two different times that you're going to hit the first half and then the second half, just so you know.
All right. So part one, part two will be here on this channel that you're watching right now. And then in between, we'll have that special Zoom room experience for those who want to network. Okay, good. Well, that'll be fun. Look forward to that. Anything else before we bring on our first guest presenter today?
Oh, let's do it. I'm excited.
All right, Joel Thiessen, aka JD, is coming in house. He's coming in ready to roll from the green screen or from the green room. Excuse me. I don't see a green screen back there, but uh, Joel, JD, it's really been a privilege to be able to learn a little bit about your story. But for those who don't know who you are and your background as it relates to work and life and business, what's your story, man? Like, how did you get to do what you're doing?
Well, I was really blessed, to be honest. I was in Canada and I just lost my job in COVID. As no one else's story starts, mine starts in COVID. And so what ended up happening is I ended up getting hired for this company, and it was complete by accident. I was being hired to work in a call center. I thought I was being hired to manage the call center. And they didn't tell me until 6 months in that I wasn't being hired to manage it. But they didn't tell me until after I'd saved them $200,000 in that first year. And then they're like, all right, well, we know you well enough that you're not going to run away if we tell you this. So, and that's really what sparked my journey into where I am now. And that company ended up launching me into Legacy Innovatives, where me and my business partner are now doing customer service consultation and anything from outsourcing consultation to actually taking over their whole customer service team and managing it and building systems to experience for their clients to experience great customer service. And that's what I do now.
Yeah,
and I know that's really a lot just crammed into one, but that's my story.
No, appreciate you sharing that. And you're helping the Giver Marketing Network welcome our members more effectively as well. We're a membership organization, and you're really coming alongside and saying, hey, we want to make sure that not only before they join the network, that they're clear on what they're experiencing and excited about, but once they join, after the commitment, after they jump in, what does it feel like as they're being welcomed and invited into different rooms and experiences? And that's where your superpower is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Even right now, we are actually revamping the Giver Marketing Network's customer journey. And this is one of my favorite things to do, is to kind of sit and just kind of build from the ground up. And so over the next few months, you're going to start seeing the effects of what I do in the Giver Marketing Network. You've seen a bit of it in the past, but I've been given the reins recently, and so I'm excited to see what it looks like after a few months here.
All right, so let's talk about what you're presenting today. What's the topic you're going to zero in on? I know it's something to do with what we just discussed.
Yes.
But what's the actual laser focus that we're going to have today with you?
So we're going to focus today on learning how to build your customer journey, and we're going to give you tips and tricks on things you need to think about as you're building your customer journey. My big thing is customer service, but we have an amazing person coming later today. His name is Frank, and he's going to be doing talking about the customer service as marketing aspect. And so I get the opportunity to talk about something a little bit more specific, and we're going to talk about building that exceptional customer journey today.
Oh, the journey itself. Okay, good. So let's go. Go ahead and bring the visuals up, Joel. Super excited. Want to hear it.
Perfect. And so you can see this is about me. It's my name. All right, we can now move on.
All right.
So there's the first thing you need to realize is that everybody needs a personalized pathway. Now, this doesn't mean you need to have separate emails for everybody, but you have to realize that if you're building a customer journey, you need to know exactly who your market is and how they connect. And this is a big thing with all customer service. But if you're not being able to connect with the people coming in, then they're not going to stay for very long, and you're going to have a very high churn rate. And so what our goal is through building the customer journey, we're building consistency and personalization for each member so that your churn rate goes down and your profits go up. And
so no matter if it's a member or a customer or a client, whatever you call them, it's the whole journey is what I'm hearing. Is before the commitment itself and then after. Is that correct? Okay.
Absolutely. And by when you map this out, when you truly intentionally build a customer journey, because whether it's intentional or not, you've built a customer journey. Whether it sucks or not, you've built it. Okay. And so if you've intentionally made it, you can sit there and go, okay, my reputation online is going to go up because this is what I've done. My heart is in this. And so that's really what this is building. And it's like one of the people on the chat said, it's understanding the unique needs of your customer and matching them. Thanks, Chris. I'll just point out to Chris for commenting that. And that's exactly what it is.
Excellent. So, hey, put some more questions in the chat for Joel, because we got a short period of time with Joel today. It's like power punch, like awesome, sweet spot here with Joel. So go ahead and ask questions, like even ahead of time, like what about this and what about this? Because we might be able to squeeze in a question or two toward the end.
Absolutely. And I'm open to any questions, because that's who I am. I just want to be, I just want people to understand, and I want them to grow is really what I want them to do.
Let's go.
One of the things that we need to do is when you're understanding the unique needs of your customer or the individual needs and preferences, now you can tailor onboarding strategies to them specifically. Right. Okay. And if you can tailor that, then what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I know that these are your needs. What it does is it helps your client or your customer, whether you're a marketing company or you're an e-com company, it's the same. If you can make your people feel heard and seen and understood, they will actually continue with you, and they're gonna be willing to withstand more mistakes than normal if you actually make them feel heard, understand, and heard and understood. Sorry. And so that's one of the. And then when you tailor your onboarding strategies to this, what you end up finding is that you will get a lot more grace from your clients if you make mistakes. Now, we don't make mistakes. None of us do. We're all perfect. So we don't need that grace. However, it also makes people want to stay with you longer. You can have the most perfect system ever, but if you don't make them feel heard and understood, people will still leave you, and you won't be able to figure out why.
All right, put that in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching. Heard and understood. Just make them feel heard and understood. Really good point. All right, what's next?
All right, and this goes right into the continuous feedback. I'm not going to go because that's the same. It's heard and understood. And then if you streamline that administration process, what it does is it says, I know what I'm doing. So if you've got a form that you have people fill out being like, hey, this has all the information that I'm ever going to need from you in this one form. We're going to get you to fill this out. And then from this point forward, I don't need to ask you for anything. And that just makes you look professional, and it instills confidence in who you are. Yeah. And so let's move on here.
Yeah. I think administration and planning and allowing for that exchange of communication reduces the stress over time. It might give a little bit of quick jolt in the front end, but it reduces the stress over time.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. We need to do better at this. I like this. This is
when you have someone filling out one form, it's a larger barrier to entry. Yes. You might have people being like, oh man, I don't want to spend 10 minutes filling out this form. But what ends up happening is when you filled out that form, when you're building their marketing strategies, when you're building their customer service team or even their products, that one form will inform everything you need to know. Okay. And in our situation, such as the Giver Marketing Network, what it does is when you're introducing them, it actually lets them introduce themselves. And that's the beauty of it.
Come on, I like it. Okay, what do we got next?
So we're talking about, because onboarding and the whole customer journey is about building those strong connections with the new clients. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. The first one is when you're building your customer journey, you need to have some clear expectations. And I'm not going to read everything on here, but this is all for everyone just to kind of take a look at. Because if you've got clear expectations, one, your customer service team doesn't need to do that much work. Mm-hmm. If your sales team, and this is coming from a customer service person, so there's a little bit of a battle between customer service and sales. If your sales team lies to your people, your customer service team has to fix it, and they can't fix everything. To quote Star Trek, we're customer service, we're not magicians.
Got it. Okay.
All right. So when you have clear expectations right from the get-go, saying when you're signing up, this is what you're getting. It's clearly outlined. When they go on and they're sitting there going, okay, I'm not getting this. What you can do is you go into that consistent communication, like, okay, you're not getting this. Let's look into our relationship and see why. What were you actually expecting, and what are we actually giving you? And
Mm.
when you've built this customer journey, you know exactly what they're getting, when they're getting, and how they're getting it.
Okay,
When
so if I'm hearing you right, you have this journey that begins at marketing,
Yeah,
and then it moves into this decision, the sales process where they're making that commitment. And then there's a post commitment experience that that includes this customer service, because they are now either a customer, a client, a member, or whatever it is. They now need to be treated with even more attention, because that that launching, that onboarding into the journey together at another level is starting to happen, and that's where you come in. Is that right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so once we've got all that set up, like one of the things that we built is we have a whole consulting program that can go up to 18 months.
Hmm.
And we have 4 phases in it. And in every phase, we set expectations. This is what you're getting in this phase. This is what you're getting in this phase. This is what you're getting in this phase. And then we say, okay, this is the phase we're in right now. And they're like, well, we want to do this. I'm like, no, that's phase 3. We can get there. However, if you don't set the groundwork up, that's not going to have the intended result. And because we've built that customer journey for our consultant clients,
Mhm.
now they know what to expect, they know when to expect it. And if they're getting anxious, we can say, do you know what, we're working on this part right now, we'll be there in, and we can give them a specific timeline that says we will be there in about 2 weeks or 6 weeks or a month or two or whatever. But we can give them a specific timeline, and we can talk to them about, we can do that, but these are the consequences of jumping over in front of doing that. And then we're set the clear expectations of, we can do exactly what you want, but there's always consequences to skipping through the process and doing one step before another step. And when you set those clear expectations, all of a sudden your clients know what's going on, you know what's going on, there's no surprises. And through that consistent communication, then you've built this, and you've got a strong relationship where they know you're prepared, and they know that if they want something, that it's that you can do it, and you'll help them the best that you can. And lastly is a supportive community.
Okay, talk more about this.
Okay, so once you've done that, and I'm a big fan of having a community base among your clients. Now, if you're a marketing company, you have a community. There was a company that I was meeting with recently, just kind of doing an interview, and they had a community that they didn't even know about. So they had a Reddit community for their company, and they had no clue that this Reddit community existed, but it was full of a whole bunch of questions that they had no idea about. They didn't, like, no one could figure this out, and they would go to their community, which their community message board, and they would try and find the answer. If they couldn't find it, they would go to Reddit, and the people on Reddit would be answering questions for them. And so they no longer had control of their narrative because the supportive community was not theirs.
Interesting. So community can really help uh, guide the narrative if it's well managed. Is that
If
what I'm
it's
hearing?
if it's well managed and if you own it. And there's places like Reddit where you don't own your community.
Okay.
But if you're a part of your community there, you can actually talk about and answer questions and control that narrative.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like, what does customer journey have to do with marketing? That is the biggest marketing you can have, because that's a public community.
Yes.
And all of your problems, all of the issues they've had, all the dirty laundry will be aired out there, or on other message boards. There's discords and stuff like that. But if you have a proper customer journey, what they're going to be doing on these things that you have no control of is they're going to be talking how great you were or whatever.
Come on.
And
I like
but
that, because what I'm noticing is the healthiest businesses, nonprofits, or other organizations are the ones where word of mouth and referrals are part of the strategy. Like
yeah,
you're actually encouraging that. Your community, you're talking to your community about who else do you know, who can join in the fun, who can be a part of this, who what friends do you have that could benefit from this, like you have, and all of this kind of conversation. It's not the only thing that's talked about, but it's definitely a part of the overall strategy. As you're serving them well, you're asking them, who else do you know can be a
yeah,
part of this?
yeah.
And healthy businesses have that. If healthy organizations have that, if you don't have that happening, there needs to be a evaluation of how your customer service is encouraging that. All important referrals and word of mouth.
Absolutely. Your word of mouth is the cheapest, it's the cheapest marketing you can do, but it's the most expensive in the long run. All of our clients that we've built the systems for, there is actually a follow-up campaign that we've built where they are actually taking personal information that has been given to the agents, and they are developing it into actionable intel to exceed customer expectations.
Come on, come on.
And if you're willing to develop a customer journey, this is the end of the customer journey I just mentioned,
Right.
where it's like that's not the first thing you do. You're like, hey, do you know what you want to buy? Okay, da, 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 da. But when they've been with you for 6 months and then finally they get a bouquet of flowers for their daughter who's getting married next week, it changes the conversation very quickly, and they don't generally leave your organization after that.
Got it. So there's moments in time where you can create a higher level connection and earn the right to say, hey, do you know anybody? Can you be one of our evangelists? Can you be one of our ambassadors? Is this something you'd be open to doing? And that becomes a very powerful strategy. You said it's the least expensive part of marketing. I happen to agree with that. If you don't have that in place as a part of this customer service meets word of mouth strategy, you're in trouble as a business, as an organization. You don't have enough money to find enough clients if you don't have word of mouth and referrals.
We call this whole process, and I know that this isn't what we're talking about, but we call this building relational equity with your clients.
Okay, gotcha.
And if you don't have relational equity, you can never ask for referrals.
Come on, hey, somebody put that in the chat. If you don't have relational connection or equity with your current customers, then you don't have the right to ask for referrals and word of mouth and them being an evangelist or an encourager in any way, especially in your community. So thanks for mentioning the community.
Yeah, awesome. And now, lastly, we're going to talk about providing ongoing support and guidance.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that you need to do with every system, the business owner needs to know the system they're part of. And this talks about clear expectations, and that we talked right at the beginning. But what we want to do is we want to be implementing some sort of mentorship program with them. If Christine Dean is asking me to build her customer service team, okay, congratulations, Christine, you just hired me. And so we're building the team, but I'm doing everything for her. And I'm just saying, yeah, we've done this part. We've done this part. She will never be able to oversee what I do because she has no clue what I'm actually doing. And so the idea is, as we're working with you, we're actually teaching you the ins and outs of this. And so, and this is with marketing. You have to do this with marketing, with customer service, with any sort of kind of service structure. You have to be able to tell them, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is the potential costs. And it's basically, you're teaching them your job. And people are like, but then they'll be able to do my job. And like, if you're doing your job right, you are so unique and perfect at what you do, they will never be able to do your job. But they do need to be able to, that if they're looking for someone else, they need to be able to sit there and go, yeah, but what about this? This is something my person does. This is something my person does. Do you do that? And it will actually protect your clients instead of losing your clients.
Explain that a little bit more. Are you referencing the actual onboarding experience internally as a team, or are you referencing the customer experience itself?
So I'm talking about the customer experience and the onboarding experience together. Okay, so if I'm onboarding Christine Dean,
yeah,
I want to tell her exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Right? So that she knows, because she's the one that's in control of her business. She's the one that is really saying, this is my vision. This is what I'm implementing. Right?
Got it. So you're telling them what you're doing while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that way, when the time comes that they're parting ways from me, and because you're not going to have 100% of your clients stay, but it gives them, it's basically taught them enough to sit there and go, okay, now I want to make sure that this person that I'm talking to actually knows what they're doing. And chances are you are unique to what you're doing, and they most likely will not go with someone else if you've taught them what you're doing, because they have an expectation.
Plus, you always have more to offer, so that's a good way to continue the conversation and relationship. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that.
Perfect. And then what I love doing personally is I love transitioning to independence. That's one of the things that I really, really love doing. And that's, and with the customer journey. Now this is something more for SaaS companies and everything, but you want to get people, eventually you want to get people to the point where they know what you're doing and they can check in, but you're not mentoring them. You're not talking to them every day. You've built the system and now they can trust the system to work. And
so when you say they, you mean your clients don't have to micromanage you or communicate at a high level all the time. You're just taking care of business, Joel, you and your team.
Yeah.
And the client, like whoever it is, can trust that things are happening well, and they're checking in every once in a while. You're checking in with them, but it's not as frequent.
Yeah, and it becomes more of a back and forth that's more loose. Okay. And if they want to change something, then we have meetings and everything, but we have the relational equity to continue working on their behalf.
Great.
And when you've built those clear expectations and you've done all the process up to this point, even as a marketing company, you now have the relational equity to be working with them, and the trust that you can do your job and do it at a high level, and that they won't want to go with anyone else.
No matter what company, whether it's marketing or legal or real estate, or it doesn't matter what kind of industry, the principles you're giving here can be applied to nonprofits, for-profits, any kind of organization. So
yeah. Great. And we had one more that was just talking about trust building, but I wanted to leave some time for questions that came in. And so this is how you can get a hold of me. If I wanted to just give anyone, if you've got a business and you want to just ask questions, whether it's customer service or customer journey or whatever, I wanted just to give you an option to have a 30-minute meeting with me. And so it'll give you access to my calendar here. So yeah.
What's the significance of 393 in your Calendly link, man? That's cool. Like, is that like a secret? Like, because I know you were an actor back in the day, and like you have some like like, is there like a special thing for that?
No, it's just a number to make it unique. That's all.
All right.
However, you're right. Most of the numbers that I choose have some sort of significance. Yeah. I do know that when you use the number 3, it's a lot more attractive to people than other numbers. 3 and 7 for some reason. I don't know why, but it is more attractive to people, and I haven't figured that out.
All right, somebody take a screenshot of this and pop it in the chat. Somebody grab a calendar link for Joel. I think Christine's probably putting it in the feed right now. I could see her fingers typing away there, and boy, she's really organizing and really getting us going in the right direction. So book a time with Joel, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't bite. He's got some really good information that this is just touching the surface. This is just like, hey, these are things to think about. But once we get into an appointment, I'm assuming, Joel, that you'll do like you've done with us, where you go in a little deeper and say, hey, you might have a gap here. Let's go ahead and solve that even while we're on the call real quick.
Yeah.
And that way you can get some value out of this. And then when we look at working together, I'll do more of that with you. But Calendly.com/Joel-393. Just remember -393. It's like a call symbol.
It is. I don't know. It became easy. That's all.
All right, good.
Well, and I was thinking while people are using this opportunity to go ahead and scan that, we've got a question from the audience. I know how much you love those.
Yes. So when you're talking about superficial or forced relationships, here's Oh, fun. Sorry, someone just made a comment. But this is one of the things you want to look at is here. Let me just remove. Oh, perfect. When you're trying to make something not superficial or forced, I don't generally will. Those are both on the negative side. I look on the positive side, and you want to create authenticity.
Mm.
And the way you really create that authenticity with your clients is just being honest and open and not hiding anything. And the reason I bring that up is in a 30-minute meeting, you can sit there and you can have someone who's really by the book and they're operating by a script and everything, and you can give a lot of useful information, but no one's actually going to listen to it. Like someone said in the comments earlier, they don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. And so if everything is scripted and you're not willing to actually have a conversation and sit there and go, yeah, well, one of the things I do is I talk about my failures more than probably as much as I talk about my successes. And it's like I sit there and go, well, we did this once, and I know it's what you're thinking about doing, and we failed at that, and this is why we failed.
And one way to look at this, Joel, as we kind of start wrapping up this conversation is transparency encourages trust.
Yes. You will get that relational equity through transparency, trust, and authenticity.
Yep. And so if you roll that way and you encourage your customer support and service and your team to roll that way internally, that's going to be a huge differentiator when it comes to the type of business, the brand. They say the brand is what people talk about when you're not in the room. When they start saying, yeah, you know what? One thing about Joel and his team is I know they're going to tell the truth. I mean, they're not going to like overwhelm me with minutiae, details that I don't need to know about. But when it comes to the important things, they're always going to be honest. If I have a question for them, they're going to be honest. And then if you represent the companies you work with in the same way, now that enhances the value of their proposition to their clients, customers, team members, and funding sources and all those kind of things, depending on what organization it is. So I appreciate your bringing up the authenticity, the transparency, the genuine. Now, listen, there is a point here, question I would have, and I know there's maybe one more question, but there is a point that telling too much that isn't applicable. Like it doesn't really encourage or help the conversation. Like if I sat here and said, Joel, can you just tell me everything about your personal life and everything about the business, and tell me like how much of this and what about this and what, and we start going into things that really don't affect customer service. Like, isn't that going to create? Is there a healthy level of transparency? Like, how does that work?
Well, when you're being transparent and open and honest, you have to make sure that it's relevant transparency, open and honest. So if you're asking me, Joel, what's your personal life like? I might tell you a little bit about my personal life because it helps build trust in what we're talking about. Okay. But I'm not gonna go in and I'm gonna tell you that I had a fight with my wife yesterday. Like, there's a level of transparency that's like,
wait, you had a fight with your wife yesterday, bro?
Yeah, no, we did not. I can guarantee you that.
Is that what
we didn't have a fight unless.
That's the point, right? I mean, that's the point. You don't want to you got to be careful with it's got to be real. Okay, Joel, we hear you loud and clear. It's got to be relevant. It's got to be relevant.
Yeah.
I was just joking with you, bro. Like I see you
exactly.
like don't worry, Mrs. Thiessen. Like we were just joking with Joel. It was a total joke. And that was probably not a good idea since we were live. But
we only had a fight if I didn't know we were fighting, which happens every once in a while.
Okay, I got you. All right. Well, good. Any last questions, thoughts? Christine, do you have anything that you want to wrap us up with? Do you see anything else when it comes to the questions from the audience? I know we had some great comments for sure, even about like some of the just anecdotal things, but any meaty, relevant questions for the topic?
What Joel's talking about is really resonating with the audience. I'm seeing lots of people going, yeah. So
good. Christine, what are your thoughts on this topic as we wrap it up?
Oh, goodness. This is it's something near and dear to my heart. I'm all about gathering your tribe. So once you've got your tribe gathered, well, talk about customer service, right? If you don't do that customer service, they're not going to stay very long. So you want to make sure that this is not something you don't want to neglect them. Okay. So this is really very important. I
Yeah.
love this topic.
And
Why catch the fish if you can't keep them, man? Like, come on, like let's make sure we're treating people right. This is
yeah.
good.
And if you've got a community, one of the beauties of having great customer service is it will trim down the people who aren't using it. So you'll have a more accurate set of numbers that you can project with. Just
Interesting.
throwing that out there as a community. If you've got a marketing community like we do at Giver Marketing Network, it allows you that if you're going to move forward with an item, say you're wanting to give something for free, or one of the things I love about the Giver Marketing Network is we've got our Giver token. And it allows us to barter back and forth with each other. And the beauty of the Giver token is that it allows us to barter with people who are all active. But if you were going to mint a whole bunch of the Giver token, you don't know how much you actually need if you don't know the amount of active people in your community. And so that's the beauty about having great customer service, is that you can say, all right, projected, this is what we're going to need. And you can not spend too many resources on what you don't need. That's just a little added thing.
So we track our leads, but do we track our active and engaged customers, clients, and members? Interesting question. All right, Joel. Well, you left us kind of with a cliffhanger there. I like that. And with your background, I'm not surprised. That was a good one. I really appreciate that. All right, take a picture of this with your camera, screenshot, type in Calendly/Joel-393, and you are rocking and rolling with one of the best customer support people I've ever met. And he's really fun to work with. Not too, as you can tell, he's a little bit lighthearted, but he takes his craft very seriously. So super professional, and really appreciate that about Joel. Joel, thank you again for popping in, taking some time out of your day to be able to help our audience and our collective audience together, and really put our heads together and support those who are trying to welcome, onboard, and keep their customers and clients and members happy, and telling others about their company and organization. So really appreciate you doing that. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Before I leave, I just want to plug for the next person, Rob Turley. He may be one of the smartest people in RevOps that I have ever met.
Whoa.
And so I just want to plug that right now, just before, and then I'm going to get out and enjoy the next one, because that'll be a really good one.
We're going to rock your world. Thank you, Joel. Thanks for starting us off. Really appreciate that. Christine, this is getting good, and this is one of about a dozen of these little TED Talk conversations, topics that we're kind of doing here. And boy, get ready for Rob, because Rob has something special about the way he's able to communicate with confidence and precision, and the choice of words you're about to experience. It's not for the faint of heart. Like, you want to get really dialed in and get ready for Rob, because what he's about to say listen, every one of our speakers, you put them together in a room, and people are paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for this kind of information. And we're giving this to you so that you can get better for this year and the year to come. And so we really appreciate everybody coming. Christine, can you prepare us for what we have next here?
No, I don't think there's any way to prepare for Robert. Rob Turley is just a force of nature. He's going to come in and just blow everybody's minds. I think we just dive in and run with it. Are you ready?
All right, Rob, you're on stage.
How's it going?
You're out of the green room and into the live stream. So really excited to hear a little bit of your story, how you got to do what you're doing, and then we can jump into any kind of visuals that you might have today. But we're just wanting to hear from you on how to best engage with the topic that you have for us today. So super excited about that. Rob, how did you get to do what you're doing? I mean, I've worked with you for a couple of years now, gotten to know you really well, you and a little bit of your family and an extended network and friends and others. And it's nothing but a pleasure to work with you personally. But for those who don't know you and haven't looked you up on LinkedIn yet or other socials, like what's your story, man? How did you get to do what you're doing?
Well, trial and error mainly, right? like
Okay.
anybody else. But yeah, well, what I went to school for has nothing to do with where I am now. But really, it's just through the experience of running multiple companies, learning from failure, understanding that people were not ready for a more data-driven process.
Mm.
Hence, RevOps came into play because when I had a predictive analytics AI company back when, started, I think 7 years ago, give or take.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was about that long ago, huh? But yeah, about 7 years ago, people were not ready for it, and it was for predictive analytics for sales and marketing,
Okay.
and none of their data was in play the way that it needed to be. The processes were all out of sorts, so I pretty much had to become a solutions architect, which became RevOps later in the future. So I guess right in the inception of modern RevOps.
Revenue operations in the early days, if you will.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Before it even had a name, right?
Yeah.
So it was really just restructuring all of their systems, processes, operations, their tech stack, how it all integrates, data management, everything, because they wouldn't be able to use such an advanced technology unless all of those things were in place. So it was a huge blocker when trying to sell the product because all of this consultation, implementation, and optimization had to happen before it was possible to even use it properly. So it kind of put me into that position. I was the only one who knew how to do it. Then bringing that in, after that whole thing, it moved into more of a consulting role. People were asking me after I was finished with the AI company. People just kept asking, "Hey, why don't you have a consulting company? Why don't you do that? Why don't you help with implementation?" I took a 6-month hiatus because I burned myself out working 110 hours a week every week for like 4.5 years. So that was enough. And so after the 6-month hiatus, I said, you know what, let's do it. And then almost immediately had a full book of business the second the company deployed.
Excellent. So you really dove in, all in, and now you're going to be helping us today understand. There's a term that's thrown around, but not everybody knows what go-to-market strategy is. Like they don't understand really what the definition of that. So even before we bring the visuals up, can you just give us the layman's, like, hey, you're walking and talking with some organizational leader, and they're trying to get their head around what is go-to-market strategy as it relates to modern day.
So people think that go-to-market is the same as marketing, and it's not. Go-to-market is the blueprint, the infrastructure, the processes, the technology, everything that surrounds the go-to-market, and that also includes the target and how to build the target, what the targeting looks like. So it's going through the fourth wall, if you will. And it's important to take it to that next level because a lot of people just market blindly. It's a spray and pray approach, very traditionalist, but that doesn't work anymore. In reality, it really never has worked as soon as people got smart enough to know that, hey, anybody can hit me up anywhere or have any product, and it's happening all the time. So once it became more commonplace, it died. And that happened during the dot-com era, early 2000s. End of the dot-com era is when that really happened. You could thank HubSpot for that because they created pretty much the first marketing distribution tool. Yeah. And then you could thank others as well, naturally. But a lot of those technologies are no longer in existence. So one was bought out by, who was it? Oracle, and so on. So like the inception of CRMs, the inception of mass outreach, the inception of data aggregation, the inception of marketing and sales automation.
So a lot of research, a lot of understanding of what you're trying to present to the market, go to market, making sure that you're not just shooting in the dark, spraying and praying. You're actually doing something that's going to affect.
You need to have a plan, a strategy, a process, a well-developed operation, as well as a tech stack that helps enable the rest of it. So sales enablement and marketing enablement are both a part of that.
Okay.
Infrastructure is
also
this a part of
that. Everybody then? Who's this for?
Yes, it's for everybody.
Okay, good. So, hey, go ahead and flip through some of your visuals today here, Rob. I'm super excited to learn. Every time we do these summits, I engage with you, Rob, specifically, I learn something that I can implement into the business.
And this is just, by the way, this presentation is just touching the surface in areas that people are usually concerned about in the immediate. Okay. And then to inform on a little bit, we're not touching upon how to build really segmented targets. We're not touching upon how to implement psycholinguistics or more psychometric implementation of targeting. We're not going into the really deep stuff that drives this entire force. but it's pretty much the basics.
Okay.
Now, GTM, if anybody doesn't know what it means go to market, right? So it's going to be referred to by experts like myself as GTM or GTM strategy, whatever it may be. So just wanted to get that into the play, right? So the key is high precision. High precision in your targeting, and it must support a quality over quantity marketing or sales process, which has never been more crucial this day and age.
Why is that?
The reason why is because everybody and their mother is reaching out to everybody and their mother with the same generalized overarching message, and they're trying to pitch dump. Well, that's the term that people like me use, but you're pitching to everybody saying, hey, I have this awesome product, you should buy it. Or, hey, I have this service, are you in need of it? Or is your company struggling with X, Y, or Z? You sound like an infomercial. We need to stop doing that. Because nobody wants to be sold to. They want to network. They want to see what the value is. Your job as a salesperson is to help solve problems. Your job as a marketer is to inform, right? And with that, well, of course, your job as a marketer is to inform, but inform in a way that's going to drive conversion naturally. But a lot of marketers tend to forget that their job is to convert, not just create interest, right? There's a very big difference between interest and intent. And intent data is not intent. So little nugget right there for you. But really what we're trying to do here is that we need to develop strategies that are very specific. If you know anything about sales from a very talented sales rep or a sales leader, is that pattern interrupt is everything. You must be seen as different. People seem to have forgotten how to humanize selling. They're just trying to make as much money as possible. It's about helping solve a problem. It's about communication. It's about networking. It's about building relationships. And it's about talking about things that may or may not be something that they want to talk about. So you can lose some over they don't like you. You can win some over that they do like you. But it's about being as specific as possible that fits the role that they're in, that fits the industry that they're in, and that fits a bunch of different parameters, which I'm not going to discuss today because it would take a 3-hour session to talk about it, that make them who they are. That way that you can segment your audience in a way that makes the most sense and change your messaging to that segment, which brings us to the next piece, is that everything stems from the target. What does this mean? It means you have to analyze your clients, if you have existing clients, find a good data resource, learn everything about them, interview the clients, understand why the problem that you're solving is solving their problem. Most people don't know. I do this fun little exercise with clients of mine. The fun little exercise is that what are the top 10 reasons people buy from you? And I'm talking to the founders, right? Or I'm talking to the leadership in the company.
Okay.
They give me that list. Then I either interview their clients or I look at their reviews or I look at their testimonials, whatever they may be. And I devise a list of 10 of why clients think the reason why, or why clients believe or is the reason why they buy from them, right? So I'm going to ask you this, Timothy. What do you think the level of alignment is between the 10 that they chose as founders and the 10 that was chosen by the customers?
Wow. Interesting question. My gut instinct says 2.
Wow, that was incredible. You nailed it. Yeah. 2 out of 10 on average. And it's almost perfectly across the board. My statistics of working with clients, it's exactly 20%. Exactly.
Really? Interesting. Okay.
Some people get a little bit higher. Some people get 1 or none. But generally, it's 2 out of 10 across the board. But then everything averages out to exactly 20%.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Why is that? Do we know?
Because people don't know why people buy from them, and they're looking at it as the expert or as the business owner. This is why I built this. This is why people need this. The reason why people want it / need it is within their own devices. You're an expert who solved the problem. They don't know how to solve the problem. So the reason they're buying from you is not going to align with your expert opinion.
Okay. Okay. So we're almost like coming from this, like I'm the creator or the one offering the service perspective, and the audience or the consumer of some kind is saying, well, I actually need this. Do you realize like what you're offering matches this up on these couple of areas, but you're not getting what I'm really needing.
Yes, and that is exactly why a lot of go-to-markets fail, because they're speaking their language in the way that they believe the product should be consumed or the value that they provide, when in reality, you need to be speaking the language of the customer. You need to put yourself in their shoes. You need to understand why they're buying from you, and you need to speak their language, because other people like them will be attracted to that, not attracted to what you think, because you're only 20% correct.
Okay, so everybody that's listening right now, live or recorded, but speak the language of your customer. Speak the language of your customer.
And the language of the customer is not going to come from you. It's going to come from the customer.
Come on. So put some version of that phrase in the comments, because we that's what I'm taking away. I'm taking notes right now as we're talking. That's what we're doing. So that's a note that I don't want to forget. That's a really good nugget. Thank you, Rob. What's next? What do we have next for this?
Of course. So that said, with analyzing your customer, you can't do so. And this is like with my background that I explained earlier. People are not prepared to be able to understand the customer because their CRM does not hold the data. They may not be using a CRM. They may not be collecting the right data. They could be using a poor enrichment resource, which is not going to get you actual client input or things about them from engagements that you had with them as either a salesperson, a marketer, what content they engage with, whatever it may be.
This is what I love about Rob, ladies and gentlemen. He's a data nerd. Like, the dude gets into the data, and he actually applies it. He actually helps you apply it to your organization. Whether you're a multi-billion-dollar organization that he's worked with in the past, or whether you're a startup and you're really rocking and wanting to go into hyper growth mode, like, he'll help your data. Like, the data is his friend. Like, he knows, especially if it's good data. If it's
the key to the kingdom. It really is.
That's what I'm picking up whenever I work with you, Rob. And so when you say
it makes
CRM,
all the difference to the people I work with. I mean, I've seen pipelines increase 4.5x in 3 months. You know, it's that, right? So it's between data, process, and people. It's all three. Then your tech stack comes into play there, because that ties into your process. If the tech
now,
stack
you've said CRM a few times. There's one or two people out there that are like, what is this acronym? Like, what does this mean?
Customer relationship management tool is what a CRM is.
Good. And that's where that data can be either just basic level or enriched, or it can have more information or less information. It can have accurate information or misinformation, depending on where you're getting all your.
They generally have misinformation. There was a stat back from 2019 that about 64% of CRM data is incorrect.
Come on. We got to keep that clean, man. We got to keep that good, that information correct.
Exactly. Right. And that's the problem we ran into. So a solid data input and tracking process is absolutely crucial to your company. Yes, it evergreens your contacts, it evergreens your companies, it evergreens your deals. If you're not tracking and logging and analyzing all the information, there's a problem. Yes, it might be a pain in the butt, but you can add a bunch of different protocols that add automation through workflow processes, all of that. So workflow automation is built into the CRM to help the salespeople fill it out the way that they need to fill it out, or knowing what data to track or what to grab from the customers that are coming inbound.
So the work you do can help a company for decades, because you set the systems,
literally,
processes in a way to where your information is actually helping you engage your customers, clients, prospects.
It's focusing on long term.
Better. Okay, good.
Yep. So you need to also utilize a decent, and there's a lot out there. They all say that they're the best, or that they have the same data as somebody else. That is not true. It depends on what data you're looking for, which contact data is important, what different data elements you're looking for, what demographic information, what type of financial information, whatever you're looking for, whether it's large companies, small companies, consumers. Not every data resource is good for everything. That's why ZoomInfo is not great for a lot of different reasons. In my opinion, they're also overpriced. I don't mean to speak ill of them, but you can get just as good a data from somewhere else, or better data from somewhere else for less.
Okay.
But lead data acquisition, that's the type of tool that you need to be able to help understand your audience, because it can go above and beyond what you know about them, but taking it to the next level. So flipping to the next slide here. Mm-hmm. So the process is data-driven always. It needs to be. But it's going well beyond demographic profiles. For example, in traditional marketing, people will come up with an avatar or an ICP. Generally, that's going to look like oh, here's Frank. He's 45. He lives in a suburb in the Midwest. He makes about $60,000 a year, has 2 kids and a wife. And, he currently has a mortgage and likes to golf, go fishing, and likes knitting patterns. Great. That's useless because it's a made up fictional character. You need to look at the actual build of your audience and understand what the averages are or what the commonalities are within an audience or within a customer ecosystem that you have or a customer base that you have, and then apply that to audiences by knowing those things about them, but being definitive about it by having actual factual data drive that. And that's by leveraging psychometrics and linguistics. Linguistics is the other side. I do this exercise with clients all the time, is that when you're doing a linguistics process, it's important to get into the head of the customer, which is why we go through it. It's one of the most painful processes anybody can go through, is that it's reframing or restructuring their paradigms and the way that they speak at once. What is it that they think, that they feel? What are the problems they deal with, the struggles, the roadblocks? How do they lift the roadblocks? How do they alleviate their struggles? What pain points do they have? Not only pain points from an industry perspective, but separating the industry from the individual, and then have those pain points apply. Now taking the language and then structuring it around how they talk, how they act, how they feel. But then you start getting a really dynamic view of how to build messaging for these individuals in these industries, in these specific roles. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Any questions from Christine or Timothy before I move on?
Actually, let's ask the question about questions. Audience, those listening live and recorded, pop your questions in the comments because this benefits us all. Not only your comments, but your questions. And in the next couple of minutes, we're going to, if you have any questions, what is psychometrics? Like, what is linguistics? What is this? I always learn one new word when I'm talking to Rob. Like it's one of those things where it's just part of the experience. You just learn one new word, and at least. And so if you have any questions, there's no questions that's silly. Like just ask the question. If nothing else, it'll help somebody else. So go ahead and ask those questions in the comments.
And I will answer them at the end. So
yes, good. All right, you mentioned ICP. Can you explain that acronym?
An ICP is an ideal customer persona or an ideal client persona.
Mm-hmm.
Or an ideal customer profile or an ideal client profile. Depends on who you talk to. They all mean the same thing.
Sure.
But I wanted to say that so in case anybody thought that it was one thing or another thing and knew a different variation of it, that I wanted to make sure they were all covered.
Yep.
Is that there is no ideal customer. That does not exist. Everybody has their faults. Every company has different needs. There's no ideal. Ideal is quite literally not possible to achieve. And now that's okay. We're not trying to achieve the ideal. We're trying to find the closest to it. And an ideal customer profile or an ideal customer persona is something that we build to understand our customer. Most companies think that they have one, but in reality, they have a lot more than one. Generally, I see companies having minimum 3 and a maximum of 12.
Okay, so explain that. You have your ideal, but what you're really doing is going through an exercise and finding something that's close to your ideal. How does that work? Like some people are like, just find your ideal and that's it. And it's like, no, talk to Rob. He'll explain the nuances of this. Like,
well, there is nuance between it because let's say you go after tech companies in the US between, let's say 50 and 200 in company size, and you generally target the VP of sales.
Okay.
Right. Let's say that's simple. Now, there are different types of software companies in the US, in the world in general, right? You've got fintech, you've got martech, you've got sales tech, so on and so forth. It goes, across the moon. Now, who do you sell to? If you sell to SaaS companies, great, but do you also sell to fintech? Do you also sell to martech? Do you also sell to sales tech? Do you also sell to IT solutions or audit tech, like technology that does audits or whatever it may be? is that there's different language to go after them, but then you break that fourth wall of not just who you're looking at as the VP of sales, but it's also who you're looking at from the industry level and who you're looking at from within that industry. What are the struggles that they have? So breaking that down to, there's different messaging for a VP of sales in a fintech company. There's a different message that you need to build, different language you have to use for a VP of sales in a MarTech company or in a sales tech company. If you can also go after the CMO as a separate target, there's different language that you would use for all of those industries as well that is completely separate from the VP of sales. If you're going after the CEO, also separate language across all of those. So it's starting to split and split and split and split in different directions. It's not as simple as a 1, 2, 3 done.
So what I'm hearing you say, Rob, is get yourself nuanced. Otherwise, you're leaving money on the table.
Absolutely, and you can see that type of data as a pure result differentiator.
Okay.
When you start doing that, generally it's going to improve the result of campaigns or sequences or whatever that you're sending out by a significant level.
All right. So if you have any kind of volume at all in your company or high ticket offer at all in your company, this is crucial. This is key.
It's even crucial for smaller ticket because you can actually scale this out. It adds a little bit more to it, but when you're selling to the masses, let's say if you're a consumer-based company selling shoes and you have shoes for women, older women, younger women, you have older men, younger men, you have people who are active, people who are not active, but like loungewear, whatever else, it still applies because when you start doing it that way, even with like a $45 to $100 purchase, it's still very much well worth it.
Okay. All right. Good. What do we have next?
Yeah. So that's this slide. Everybody's probably already read it, but highly targeted and segmented approach. And what we're talking about here is segmentation.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's the difference between satisfactory results and excellence, right? So the question is, do your current LinkedIn and email campaigns, I thought that'd be the most appropriate for the group that we're presenting to here, look something like this. 30% open rate, 14% read rate, 1.4% reply rate, 0.1% conversion rate. So if anybody wants to put in the comments, does it look like this?
Yeah, it seems like email it's still evolving and ever changing right now. So how what are you seeing people answer? How are they answering this question generally?
Generally, this is what you're going to see across the board for most small businesses. SMBs, they're going to be hitting somewhere around this. Maybe their open rate's going to be 40, 50%, but this is really what you're going to see. The read rate's not going to change. Not so much reply rate, not so much. Usually reply rate's even lower. Conversion rate's even lower than this, 0.01% in many cases. And then also for LinkedIn, for those who are, because you can't really compare the two because you have connection rate, right?
Yeah.
So 21% connection rate, 35% read rate, 2.1% reply rate, and then a 0.1% conversion rate. This looks about right from what you've seen, Timothy, of different companies you've worked with.
If you're going after, in certain scenarios, this is the general numbers. Yeah.
Right. So now advanced market segmentation based targeting. This is the key here, is that it makes all of the difference. Campaign performance relies upon segmentation, proper targeting, linguistics that are applied to it properly, and also taking more of a human approach instead of a pitch dumping approach, where you're not just trying to sell something.
Say that again.
When you're marketing, you're not trying
to
sell
for the third
something.
time, Rob.
Or push content on people that they do not want to receive, right?
Say it one more time, Rob. No pitch dumping. Just say it one more time.
No pitch dumping. That's like a cardinal rule, right? So your performance rates will be the proof if you make these types of changes. So let's take what we had back here, right? With the email campaigns, 30, 14, 1.4, 0.1. LinkedIn campaigns, 21, 35, 2.1, 0.1. Once you apply something like this, you'll see this type of result. It will improve over time too as you start to learn the process, but open rate of 69%, read rate 75%, reply rate 17%, conversion rate 2.4%. Having over with emails, having over a 0.1% conversion rate is above and beyond what most companies can ever achieve. Usually it's 1 out of 1,000 convert. You can get about a 2.4% conversion rate. When we're talking about a conversion, we're not talking about a close. Email campaign conversion means that they set a meeting with you and they were a qualified lead. I go above the step of they didn't just set a meeting with you, but they're also a qualified lead. Must apply for that statistic.
Come on.
Now, LinkedIn campaigns, 71% connection rate. Best I've seen with clients I've worked with was 84. So that's really high. But the 67% red rate, it's a much higher red rate to begin with, because when people accept your connection request, if they click on the thing instead of hitting the X, that's considered red. You have a reply rate of 29%. That's fantastic. Conversion rate 5.4%, because you're reaching out to less people than you're emailing, and you need to take a more personal, humanistic approach.
Yep, we're seeing that. Yep, we're seeing that all day long. If you do it right, like Rob's talking about, this is what you should expect. These are real numbers, ladies and gentlemen. And
these are actually real numbers. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
I can't say who they belong to because that would violate NDAs, but yes, those are real numbers.
Okay. Good.
So these results, they become achievable. And I know you can read the screen, but I want to read this out loud for a reason. These results become achievable when leveraging a quality over quantity approach and strategy, seldomly known by traditional sellers or marketers. Traditional sellers and marketers do not use a quality over quantity approach. They believe in the spray and pray high volume approach. We need to get away from that. The whole goal of an effective go-to-market or a GTM is to target as effectively and efficiently as possible, to structure it in a way. It's not about how many people you reach out to. It's about how you reach out to them. Would you rather reach out to 1,000 people and have 5 clients convert? Or would you rather reach out to 10,000 people and have 5 clients convert?
Great question. The quality over quantity conversation is getting more and more and more important because of the comments you made earlier, like in the beginning of this presentation. It's so important, ladies and gentlemen. It's fine-tuning the machine. That's literally what Rob does for your company when it comes to Marcom, RevOps. It's fine-tuning the machine.
Correct. And so implementing a unified tech stack, RevOps process, and a sales pipeline architecture, all to fit together. This also includes marketing process architecture. It includes everything. I was trying to keep it as simple as possible, but these are the basics, right?
Yep.
But it will enable and support your GTM initiative. They need to do so. A lot of people have a tech stack that is not up to par or does not do the things that they needed to do, or it doesn't integrate. It's not a unified point of truth. It doesn't have all the functionality that's necessary, or it's very separated, disjointed. A RevOps process is having everything across all revenue teams, even the finance team and the product team or the service team, to work together as a unified force. Then, of course, a sales pipeline architecture, sales process architecture, marketing process architecture, CS process architecture, and they all need to be together and work together. That means this is pretty much RevOps is what we're talking about right here. But a GTM needs a RevOps process in order to be achieved at the highest level. Otherwise, you're going to be left wanting each time.
Got it. Well, good. We have some questions, comments starting to come in. Help us land the plane here, Rob.
Sure. So just wanted to show this is an example of just the beginning of the lead gen of a process architecture if nobody's ever seen one before, right? So it's the different places in which leads come in, whether it's outbound, whether it's inbound, where it actually falls within the process, what the different protocols are, and it goes above and beyond. This chart, I didn't put the whole thing because when I actually screenshotted the whole thing, it looked about this big, give or take.
Yeah.
So it was just massive. So it's about 12 times larger than this.
Well, Rob can help you build this kind of thing for your company, and it'll increase the effectiveness of the dollars you're already spending.
Well, it's also about finding the gaps in the process. What pieces are missing? Where are you actually losing leads? Where are things falling off in the process where you have perfectly viable pipeline that's dropping off? So your pipeline becomes an actual pipeline instead of a sewer.
Okay.
But last but not least, critical that your CRM integrates flawlessly into the apps that you need. So, for example, here there's a HubSpot logo, there's a Calendly logo. They do integrate perfectly fine. HubSpot also has a meeting tool that's perfectly capable that you should use if you have Pro or above. But then everything else, I didn't want to create the giant map for it because it becomes confusing. But yeah, you want to have all of your technology seamlessly integrate. And that doesn't mean integrates through Zapier. I mean truly direct API integration. So choosing a CRM with a large marketplace or apps that you use that are not only suitable, but fit into your CRM, which is considered the center of it all, you want to make sure to do that. But
Okay.
yeah, the goal is an operational process that's perfectly in tandem and it integrates with your tech stack. So the goal is for it to have it fit your business model perfectly the way that you need it, your sales process, your marketing process, all that perfectly the way that you need it. That's pretty much it.
Hey, time to connect with Rob. I would say for those who are serious about fine tuning that machine, if you have a good product or service and you know you have an audience and a market that is hungering and thirsting for your product or service, but you want to take that to another level, start segmenting and creating these processes and procedures that are built on a appropriate tech stack. So you're not wasting energy. You're actually leveraging the engine you have well. Rob is your guy. Okay. So take a screenshot of this, reach out to him on LinkedIn, email him, text him. He'll respond to any form of communication that you see here on the screen. So grab a time with Rob, ask him questions. We have questions in the
fastest is going to be text message, phone call, or email.
Okay, good. So text Rob, light him up right now, ladies and gentlemen. Just to say that we did, just start lighting him up right now. He put his phone number out there, which is a bold move. That's a bold move, my friend. And I appreciate your level of care and attention to.
Well, I trust your network, so that's why I put it out there.
Well, good. So
are there any questions that need to be answered within the comments?
Yeah, this we're getting a lot of comments like this is good info. This is more details than I'm used to. This is really valuable. But there is a question or a comment that I'm going to frame into a question. How do you differentiate this conversation between companies that are have significant amounts of marketing operations budget and revenue coming in versus maybe more the founders and the startups out there? And we have a little bit of both. We have folks kind of watching from kind of that medium-sized business versus the smaller startups or the micro businesses. Roger.
Well, implementing this ahead of time with the smaller businesses, with the co-founders, is absolutely critical. And if you do it ahead of time, it's going to keep you from racking up technical debt. To define technical debt, it means that it's something that you're going to have to pay for in the future that's going to cost a hell of a lot more than it does now. So it's very important to implement these processes ahead of time. Yes, it's going to take effort. Yes, it's going to take time. Yes, it's going to take money. But in the end, it's going to save you a heck of a lot more than you would spend trying to fix it in the future. So with the larger companies that I work with, like the largest company I work with is 50,000 employees. Right? So pretty large. Now, it's a nightmare because they have to restructure everything that they had in place. And the adoption process, the change management process becomes a nightmare, but it has to be done because they've hit that glass ceiling that screwed them. Trying to take shortcuts or put Band-Aids wherever they need to put Band-Aids and just make it work. But they hit a stopgap that's absolutely unbelievable. Now, if you implement this ahead of time, the amount of money that you'll save, the faster or the amount of speed that you will grow faster is going to be significant. And that's key to the process of a startup. And most startups fail, right? That is the reality of it. Now, if you have the proper process, operations, tech stack, sales process architecture, marketing operations process architecture, you have the right GTM strategy in place, you have the right targeting in place, all of that, your likelihood of failing is going to decrease substantially so that you can become a successful company.
All right. So what I'm hearing is no matter where you're at in leading your business, or if you're part of a company or an organization that could leverage and fine tune these specific nuances of go-to-market strategy, revenue operations, you want to reach out to Rob, connect with him, make sure and set a time or at least text him and say, hey, tell me more about how we could have a quick conversation.
And the key, Timothy, is that the earlier the better. but it's never too late, no matter how far along you are. It's only going to help you. But the later you are in the process or in the growth of your company, the more difficult it becomes, the more expensive it becomes, the more time it takes to adopt the processes. So the sooner the better, but it's never too late. And it's never too late in a way where it must happen at some point, because you will hit that stopgap.
And you can take baby steps and rock this, but
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Rob's gonna point you in the right direction. He's gonna get you the resources. Sometimes he'll even give you resources that you can do on your own. But at the end of the day, he's a helpful person to talk to. So go ahead and reach out to Rob Turley right now, ladies and gentlemen. Put more of your comments. Give some love to Rob in the comments. Say, hey, thank you, Rob. Thank you so much for connecting with us and teaching us something today, training us on what in the world is go-to-market strategy. So this is really, really good information.
Always happy to give free advice too.
Thank you, Rob, for doing that. I know you're a giver, and that's why you're a key part of this organization. Really appreciate you. Blessings. Thanks, Rob. Really appreciate you. I'm going to put his contact information up one more time, and then we're going to jump over to the illustrious Oz. Yes, like the Wizard of Oz. You're gonna want to stay tuned.
I spoke to him yesterday. He's an awesome guy, and everybody's going to love him, because what's not to love with him?
Yeah. He's a creative genius. So we're excited to flip that side of their brain and start going over to the other side of their brain with Oz. So get ready, shake yourself. Let's go. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. Well, with that, Christine, I'd like you to welcome our creative genius of the network, Oz. And for those who want to get ready to take some notes, we're going to be talking about some really interesting things here. So can you introduce this next guest, please?
Well, so Oz, hello. It's so good to see you. Oz is actually one of my business partners for one of our ventures, our joint projects. And so I'm actually going to talk a lot more during this one.
Good.
So Oz, you have been doing artsy kinds of stuff forever, and you've been playing in the AI space, and you've been buddying up with all sorts of AI professionals like yourself. So talk to us a little bit about your origin. Where did this all start? How'd you get to it?
First, I have a question. Why do I look like a ghost?
I don't know. We'll have to just roll with it, Oz. How did you get to do what you're doing?
Well, I was born in the backseat of a Greyhound bus rolling down Highway 41. I was born a rambling man. No, I've always been, went to music and art high school, graduated in 19 ... Don't tell you the year, as a classically trained musician. And within 4 months, I was standing on stage at CBGB's in a punk rock band, playing bass in a punk rock band called The Worms, backing up the Ramones and Patti Smith and everybody else. It was crazy at 17, and it just kind of rolled from there. I took my musicianship into photography into art, and written several best-selling books that are on Amazon on relationships. So I've kind of run the full spectrum, from artist to musician to writer, and it's all creation for me. It's a great love of mine. When I'm not creating, unless I'm up in the mountains walking through 3 feet of snow, which I was 2 days ago, I'm not happy. Got to create. If I'm not creating, I'm not happy.
Bit of a Renaissance man. I really appreciate our friendship and connecting, and I know that we've traveled to be able to connect with each other in different ways and in spaces and places. And so I'm looking forward to learning today what the conversation is going to be like. So, Christine, if you want to bring up the visuals, we can rock and roll and get going here with Oz. What are we going to be talking about today, Oz?
We're going to be talking about one particular software that Christine Dean and I use regularly, and it's called Magi. I believe, Timothy, you know it quite well as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about creating marketing campaigns for your specific niche, okay, with Magi, and creating the images to go along with it. All right. So it's a one-stop shop. I love Magi. I couldn't live without it.
Come on, let's do it. I'm excited. This is good.
Sweet. So Christine hasn't said a word yet, which is interesting.
I know, how unusual, right? Well, so let's talk a little bit about how to use AI to upscale your business. And the two focuses really that we're going to be working on is the market research side and how you can use our favorite AI tool, which is Magi, to do that, in addition to the image creation. So there's two sides of it. And the fact that it can do both is really nice. It makes it really easy. Right. So when we talk about market research with AI tools, right, if you're not using AI for your marketing, you're probably making life a little bit harder on yourself than you need to. I'm just saying, if you're scared of it, don't be scared. Don't worry. We have lots of experts that have experience in this area. So don't hesitate to reach out. Right. When you're leveraging your AI for your market research, we've got 3 different phases that we want to talk about. Oz, I'm passing it to you.
Yeah, well, it starts with describing who you are, and it could be as simple as one sentence. I actually readied that so I wouldn't have to think too deeply tonight, other than the fact that Rob and I both wore brown. That was very important.
Yes.
That you didn't need to see anything after that. So basically, I run an artists cooperative with the goal of selling our members artwork. All right. So that's who we are. You don't have to go into major detail, but there's a lot of tools to expand on that if you want to. So identify.
Just to be clear, you sell the artwork that the members create.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So identifying your ideal client, we're seeking individuals who procure art for corporations, builders, banks, and large business. All right. So that gives an idea of what we're looking for. Please provide a list of others who we could market our artwork to. So I'm telling the AI something specific that I want. Then we'll move on from there after we create this. Can I share my screen?
Absolutely.
All right. Let me pull up Magi. There we go. Let me come back here. Stream this to your audience. Is that the one, or present?
Present.
Present. All right. Share screen. There we go.
All right, so you're going to show us the steps and what you're actually doing within the AI.
Yep. So
Here it comes.
This is the Magi dashboard. All right. The two sides are chat, which is a large language models, and generated image. They're quite detailed in a lot of ways. I like keeping it on dark mode because those of us who sit in front of our computers for hours and hours a day, this is a lot easier on the eyes. So hopefully everyone's appreciating that you can see your screen a little easier. So we're going to start a new chat. Did the screen change with me, Christine?
It did.
Excellent. All right. So there's two sides to it. Okay. You have this side, okay, which are all of the different chat modules. Magi has a ridiculous amount. You'll never need a third of these. One of my favorites is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Claude, I believe, is from Anthropic. It's very, very good because it doesn't make things up. It works with facts. ChatGPT, on the other hand, which is a little bit more creative, sometimes hallucinates. So when you're building your marketing campaign, yes, you want creativity, which Claude is also good at, but you don't want it hallucinating, mentioning, or saying something that you don't want out in the public. So we're going to go with Claude 3.5.
And just to clarify, when we say hallucinating, we mean literally it makes up information. So always fact check and make sure that it's not giving you false information.
Literally, it can make up information. All right. And then we're going to go into our persona. Okay. There are dozens and dozens of personas. And yes, you can even create your own in Magi. So, you have assistant, which is what it generally is. If you're using ChatGPT for free, it's an assistant. It's an AI assistant for any task. But there's many, many others here. Prompt generator, salesperson, screenwriter, social media expert. I'm looking for a specific one. Okay, Nomosa brand voice, that's ours. Okay, so, and you can create your own, and Christine and I can both show you how to do this. And it's really powerful creating your own brand voice with your own chatbot. So I'm going to type in, or should I say, put in everything that I just mentioned earlier. I run an
All right.
artist.
So what are we doing right here? We're trying to describe who we are. Is that what we're doing?
We're describing who we are and what we want. All
Okay.
right. We're an artist cooperative with the goal of selling our members' artwork. We are seeking individuals who procure art for corporations, builders, banks, and large business, etc. You have to understand, sometimes when you're working with AI, you don't get the best answer the first time. Sometimes you have to tweak it. Treat your AI like it's a 5-year-old child. You're going to speak to it gently and lovingly and explain things sometimes a little bit more deeply than you normally would. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of this, and we'll see how different they come out. If you see these 3 little stars here that say enhance, we're not going to do that yet because I like what I wrote here, but we're going to do this the way I wrote it, and then we're going to enhance it to see if we get a different volume of what we're looking for. So I'm going to click send prompt, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet is going to give us an answer. So what we're looking for is for it to provide a list of other professionals, other professions who we can market to so that we sell more art and put more food on the table for our artists. So it's thinking right now. I must have given it something very complex because it usually works a little bit faster than this.
Well, so with this exact prompt, oh, and there it is. Oh, wow.
This is what you call a good answer, but let's see. Here's a comprehensive list of art procurement professionals and decision makers you should consider targeting. Corporate art consultants, and then it goes into detail. Healthcare art consultants, hospitality and industry professionals, commercial real estate professionals, architectural firms, interior design firms specializing in corporate offices, banking institutions, government buildings, educational facilities, convention centers. This is phenomenal. There's no reason to do this again. This is absolutely
all right. Just to
wonderful.
understand so far what we've done, we went in and we said, okay, this is who we are and who should we be doing business with? Or, you know, and this is the list they gave us.
Exactly. So I'm going to go down to.
So what was your actual prompt wording for the part where you asked the question, you told it what you wanted it to do?
Please provide a list of others who we could market our artwork to.
All right. So provide a list of who you can market to, right? So you've described your business, whatever your business is, and then you said, tell me who I can market to. And then it came up with a very comprehensive list.
Yep. So I'm going to look for, all right. So here, interior design firms. All right. So I'm going to ask it to go deeper into this one. And this is the power of AI, where you can ask it a question, and even if you love the ideas that they're presenting to you, and I do love this, and Christine and I are going to talk about this on Friday, sometimes you want to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to copy that, okay, and I'm going to say, please give more detail.
So if you find a spot in there that you like, you can say, ooh, I want to deep dive into this. So now I'm just going to ask it to give me more details on whatever that is.
Yep. About best practice to market to interior design firms specializing in, oh, I should have copied all of that.
Okay. So we're asking it to tell us more details about marketing to this particular audience.
Yep. And let's see what it comes up with.
Well, remember Rob Turley was talking about go to market and focusing on a very particular audience, right? Who your ideal client is, even though our perfect client doesn't exist, but we're looking for certain people, right? So this is how one of the ways you can look at that.
Yep. And these are some of our ideal clients. So now it is giving us a detailed list. It's probably not done. It's still thinking. Okay. And whoop, it's still giving us details.
Woo, that's a lot of details right there.
Yep.
So when you say, I don't know where to start, well, this gives you a great place to start.
And yet it's still going. Okay. And it always asks at the end, would you like me to elaborate on any of these points? So I will do that after we're done here today. Look how detailed this is.
All right. Okay. So give us some, for those that can't read it really well, give us some suggestions, some of what that says.
Here's a strategic approach to marketing your artist cooperative to interior design firms specializing in commercial spaces. All right, professional presentation materials. Create a polished digital catalog showcasing your artist's work, which we're working on our website right now. Include high quality images with detailed specifications, dimensions and materials, installation requirements, price ranges, lead times, customization options. Develop case studies of previously successful installations. That means we have to talk to our clients. Prepare a professional portfolio showing scale and context. Build credibility, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Targeted outreach strategy, unique selling propositions, and then it goes into for banking institutions. So it's giving me a full marketing campaign for every one of the 5 that I asked it for, which is way, 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 way up. Anyway,
so I think this gives people a place to start, right? Sometimes marketing can be really overwhelming, and you can't just always go to an AI to solve all the problems. However, it gets you thinking in the right direction, so you know where to start. Right? It's nice to bring in the experts to give you a hand to kind of help guide you whether which ones are worth putting your time and energy into. But it definitely gives you a place to start.
Yep. So let's look at one of these. I'm going to pop back over to Magi. Where did I put it?
So we looked at our ideal client, right? If we looked at right, who we are, who our ideal client is, and then some of the options that we can do for marketing, and that set it up. Now you saw how quick that was, right? Within just a few minutes, we now have something to start with. So if you're not sure where to start, this kind of gives you a place to start.
Yep.
Now, did you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about images now?
Yeah, we're gonna go into images. I'm just looking at. I really didn't expect the massive amount of quality answers that this AI gave us. And remember, again, we're doing it in our brand voice, which Christine and I worked on with Dustin Stout, who is the CEO of Magi, who trained us how to do this for other companies, which Christine does on a regular basis. And believe me, this isn't really about me, just me. Christine runs her own marketing agency. If you want to know what your brand voice is and be able to search as your brand voice in graphic detail, you want to talk to Christine about that. She is really, really good at it. And she's done it a lot more than I have.
And that's just one side, right? So this is the one side of the model. So when we were talking about the text side, right? So this is this side. Now, if we move on from here into the AI image generation and marketing, that's a whole nother side, which is also covered in Magi, which is one of the reasons why we enjoy that tool so much for AI. So if we're looking at that, let's talk about creating AI visual images for marketing.
Yep. So they make it very, very easy in Magi. You don't have to go bouncing around and finding something. So we're going to go to quick action again. Okay. And we're going to go to new image. And this will go right into my image generator. I'm going to just grab something here. I was playing late last night because I just wanted you guys to see just the vast majority of things that you can possibly create. I was working on very otherworldly bio-architectural images. And Magi is thinking there must be a lot of people using it. Christine, can you see my screen, or do I
can see your screen? It just popped up. Oh my goodness! Look at all those pastel colors and.
Yep. These were so. And the great thing is, it always saves your prompt. So here, this prompt: futuristic bioarchitecture with flowing organic forms, ethereal structures resembling natural shapes. Blah 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 blah. And the model that I used was Flux 1.1 Pro, which is actually what we're going to use now. So I'm going to go back here, okay, to the generate button, all right? And just like I did with the large language models, I'm going to show you the immense amount of different image generators that they have here in Magi. You really only need 2 or 3. My favorites are DALL-E 3 and Flux 1.1 Pro and the Pro Ultra, which is a much higher resolution image. So if you're going to print something large, you want to use Flux 1.1 Pro Ultra, and then you want to enlarge it in the system as well, and then probably work on it in Photoshop, which will be something different. So we're going to go into 1.1 Pro. It's a little bit faster. And I love, these are all of the different dimensions that you could do it in. You could do it in square, which it does automatically. But I like landscape 16:9. Most of my art is in that. And I go to advanced options. The safety tolerance, I like to bring all the way up here.
All right, time out. Safety tolerance. What in the world are you talking about here, Oz?
All right, so if you are doing something that is, I don't know, maybe a little bit racy, that's not safe for work, you want your safety tolerance all the way down. All right. If you're doing something for marketing that's completely safe and you just want it to be exactly the way you wrote it, you don't want the AI thinking any different. You want it to be creative to a degree, but you want it to be specifically what I put down on paper, then your safety tolerance is all the way up to 6.
Okay, so if it's a high number, then it's going to do closer to exactly what we want. If it's a lower on that scale, then you're giving the AI more creative freedom to do what it wants.
Exactly. And in addition, if your safety tolerance is all the way down, if you do something that would be perceived as a little naughty, it will not create the image at all. So if you want to create anything that's a little naughty, I could see
that's hopefully not what we're doing with our business.
I'm laughing in the background. No. Then
what kind of prompt are we doing today, Oz?
Well, what would you like me to create, Christine? Let's think about what we were doing. All right. So, and the other great thing about Flux is better with words on your image than anything else. It's just absolutely outstanding. So I've got an idea. I worked with a company that was building a new office, and they wanted images of a golf course with specific sayings on them that were motivational messages from golfers. Okay. So let's see. A beautiful golf course by the ocean. Clearly, you don't have to spell well to be a CEO. Now, this is all I'm going to put in for the prompt at the moment, and I'll show you why. These 3 little stars over here enhance the prompt. This will do it on both sides. It'll do it on the image side, and it'll do it on the large language model side, which we didn't get into because there's just too much to talk about. Like Rob was saying, it would take me 3 hours to explain even a portion of Magi. So we're going to enhance the prompt, and then we're going to add to it because I want to put in words. Christine, I will let you give me the words. So, manicured golf course featuring lush green fairways and well-maintained putting greens. Positioned adjacent to the expansive blue ocean, gentle waves caressing the shoreline, sand dunes and coastal cliffs visible in the background, warm golden light from the setting sun, casting long shadows and enhancing the vibrant colors, and it goes on. I would never have thought of this. Okay.
Now that's a lot of detail there, Oz. So can we go into that kind of detail? Will it pay more attention to everything in there, or is it going to skip some of it or leave some of it out?
Well, let's find out. Let's just create that really quickly. Okay. And then we're gonna do it again with words. And we're gonna see if the words come out great. All right, I love that.
Ooh, that's pretty.
That's really great.
Who wouldn't want to golf there, right?
Well, if your ball goes down the hill, it's in the ocean, but then you could just take your clothes off and go swimming.
Okay, well, so keeping this PG-13, let's keep our clothes on. And I see we've got the golf. Did it add in all the details that it talked about? Did it miss anything?
You know what? There's just so much to read there. The people all the way in the distance seem to be a little tall. But AI is often not perfect, and that's why sometimes you have to recreate. So we're going to do this a second time.
Okay.
So I'm going to write text. I'm going to go black text. Hold on.
All right. So we're telling it to create the image, but we're also telling it to add text. And we can keep it real short here for the demo.
Black text in upper left corner says, I'm just going to go with our company name for now. Okay.
Okay. I was going to
Let's
say
see
you
if it
can
gets it
golf
right.
now or find your escape or right, whatever inspirational quotation that we have.
All right, let's go with that. Find your escape. Okay, I like that.
So if you wanted to advertise your, or we were talking about putting this on a wall, weren't we? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. This would be something that would be printed out. Now, here's the challenge with AI sometimes. If your prompt is long and you want to add something, you generally shouldn't want to add it at the end. So I'm going to copy that.
Do you want to move it to the front and let's see the
And I'm going
difference?
to move it to the top. Okay. Manicure golf course featuring a lush green fairways and well-maintained putting greens. Okay. I'm going to make a period there. And I'm going to put black text in upper left corner says, find your escape. Okay. And then I'm going to make that a period because I don't want to confuse the AI. And let's see what we get. Let me take this out and see if it likes that better.
All right. So now we move the text towards the front and now that it's the order of prominence, right? Stuff at the top is more likely to get in.
Interesting that it didn't do it again.
It didn't do it again. So I'm wondering, remember I mentioned earlier about there being so much detail, maybe if we need to shorten some of the detail. And this is what you're going to do when you're trying to play with your AI. You can't just put something in and then hope for the best, right? You can, but you may not get what you're looking for. So you have to give it some creativity and let it do what it does. But understand sometimes too much detail can actually cause you more problems.
Yep. So lush green, again, spelling, lush green golf course adjacent to a blue ocean. Black text in upper left corner says, find your escape.
All right, that's it. We're keeping it real simple. Let's let the AI do its thing.
Let's see if it reads that. Because Flux has been phenomenal for doing this. There we go.
There we go. So it's the amount of information, right?
What have we learned today? We have learned that if you're going to want your text on an image, and I love this. This is fast. I put this on my wall. You want to keep your prompt fairly short. So don't enhance the prompt if you want to use text. See, we learned this today. Very cool.
Absolutely. So we've gone through the different options here. We looked at the large language models and how you can use that to kind of help build out your marketing, what you want to do and get you thinking. And then we looked at the other side where you can also use it to create images. So that's just two ways that you can use the AI to help with your business and help with your marketing. There's so much more. There's so much more. That's just a little tiny drop in the bucket, right? So if you've been thinking about playing with AI, hopefully this shows you it's not scary, nothing broke. It's okay. We're here to have fun with you. So if this is something that you're interested in, then it's probably something that you want to talk to Oz about. So I'm going to bring Oz's information up on the screen. So book a free 45-minute AI for business consultation with Oz. You've got the QR code there. Go ahead and scan that, book that appointment. Leave that up for just a moment so you can go ahead and get hold of that. So Oz, what does a 45-minute AI for business consultation look like?
Oh, we just play. We play. I want to hear about, what you're looking for in business and how Christine and I can help you attain the goals that you're seeking in business. Because, everybody hears about AI every minute of every day, whether you're on YouTube, social media, whether you're being blasted by commercials that are AI. And sometimes they're just a little bit annoying. You're like, oh my God, that looks terrible. Well, that's because people just did it on their first shot. So if you're looking to learn a system, and Magi is just one of many that Christine and I use, we're going to be your go-to guys for learning AI because, quite frankly, and you're going to hear this a million times as well, those that are not at least proficient to a certain level in AI within the next year or two will be left behind in business. My artists have said to me, Oz, AI is going to replace us as artists. I'm like, no, other artists utilizing AI and combining it all together will replace you. So I can replace a paintbrush with a couple of strokes of my fingers on my keyboard. You would not believe some of the stuff that I've created with AI. It's absolutely delicious.
Well, so I think it would be a lot of fun to sit down with Oz and have him give you a hand with that. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity, right? If you haven't played in that AI space, don't let fear hold you back, right? Take the time, book that appointment, spend some time with them, just having fun with AI and creating. You'll be glad that you did if you haven't done it before.
Yeah, and hopefully my camera won't be ghosting me over. I don't know why I look so ghost-like today.
That's okay. They can see the real Oz soon on the next one. So thank you so much, Oz, for coming to play and showing your area of expertise here. We appreciate your input. And if anybody wants to come play, reach out to Oz. Thank you, Oz. And I am really excited. Our next speaker, oh my goodness, Jennifer, I'm just going to pull you on. Are you ready? Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. We're going to have fun today.
We are.
Well, so your area of expertise, right, is really diving in and helping your audience, right, helping your clients connect with their audience. And so I'm really looking forward to what you tell them a little bit about how you got to where you're at right now.
Yes, sorry. I'm realizing that I didn't upload my, my slides yet. So I just uploaded them. Okay, yes. So I had always wanted to work from home, have a job where I got to write and research and collaborate with people. And growing up, everyone told me I was crazy. That didn't exist because the internet wasn't here. So I was apparently ahead of my time.
You were ahead of your time.
At some point, I did discover freelancing. And that opened up a whole world of building your own business and your own job, right, around your own life. And so I started as a content marketer. I was a ghostwriter, a blogger. I loved to write and do research. And so that's exactly what I was doing. And I realized over the time span of, let's say, 5 to 7 years of doing that part-time, that the businesses that were looking for help, social media marketing had just become a thing, and everybody was throwing spaghetti at the wall over the place, and they were trying to find out the new marketing techniques, but it wasn't working. And part of it why it wasn't working was everyone thought marketing was completely different. And they thought if they were just on the right platform or had the right strategy, not the right strategy, but like the right hack, to beat the algorithm, that then everything was going to work. And so I realized that this wasn't working. It needed to be a more holistic approach, but I wanted to see if marketing had actually changed in the 21st century because of social media and internet, or if it was the same. And
we froze for a moment. Just hang tight. She should be back in just a second. So with Jennifer's background, I know she's done a lot within this space. The idea is to connect with your ideal client. So one of the things that we're going to focus on is how to make it so that your audience is eager to listen.
Sorry about
Keep
that.
going, Jen.
So I developed a system for making marketing work that's based more on client experience and connecting with your clients, and using those proven techniques in marketing, no matter what platform comes and goes. Like the TikTok craze is fizzling out now. And so that's how I've learned. I've dug deep into strategy and work in a strategic approach to marketing. And like I said, a more holistic look at it. So that's how I've gotten here.
Well, so today's focus, talk to us a little bit about what you want to focus on today.
Well, today, let me bring these up. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is how to speak so your ideal client will hear you and listen to you. Many times we worry again about being on the right platform or the right app, but we can have, or even just the visuals. I know Oz is an amazing artist and visuals are important. However, it's still words that power the internet and drive marketing. Even with AI, you need words. So this is an important part of how are you sharing what you're doing and educating people about your business so that you can attract the ideal clients and have them listen to what you have to say. So we're going to go over 3 different things. The first is the ideal client myth, what people have been taught about finding or defining their ideal client that isn't actually true. Second is it isn't all about you. Marketing isn't about you, it's about them. And we're going to talk about how to change that perspective so that you're reaching them more easily. And the last thing that they want to hear. We all want everyone to be excited about what we share. However, this is actually the last thing that anybody wants to hear, and it's a turn off to your marketing. So we're going to go through that. So the first thing is the ideal client myth. We have been taught as online entrepreneurs and even in-person brick and mortars in this modern era of marketing that knowing your ideal client comes down to these very tight demographics, like what they eat for breakfast, what color sneakers they wear, how old they are, how they wear their hair. And to some extent, it's important to know those things, to understand how your audience consumes information and where they are demographically, as far as are they in the Northeast of the United States versus are they in Central America. That's going to change how you talk to people because there's a different cultural reference. However, demographics can lie. Just because someone fits into this ideal that you've set up about how they live their lives doesn't mean that they're the people that are looking for you. So one of the things is that you generally are your ideal client. At some point about 5 to 10 years ago, you were in the position of struggling with a problem and then coming to a realization of how to overcome it. And in that transformation, you learned a lot and then you wanted to share that with others. And that is true no matter what kind of product or business you have, that there's a reason why you started the business and it wasn't just to make money. And generally it's because you wanted to fill a need that you had at one point and nobody else was filling. So remember that when you're talking to your ideal client, you are talking to yourself 5 to 10 years ago. And so think of what you would want to hear. That's very important. One thing is to niche or not to niche, or niche, if you want to say it that way. We're often told that we need to, again, because of those demographics, find this super tight niche. So our niche are lawyers who are 35 to 42 and drive a red car and have a corner office. And it's important to have a focus, right? And know who you're talking to, because if you try to talk to everybody, you know, the old saying, you're talking to no one. However, the niche really isn't the demographics. The niche is the transformation they are seeking. And yes, it could be that those lawyers with the corner office are the people who are seeking that transformation. However, we need to look at them more as people who have a problem and this is what they want to happen. And that is what our niche is, because we all have a specific transformation that we can provide to people given X, Y, and Z. Okay, so even when we have similar methods or we deliver similar services, everyone does it a little bit differently. And so I serve these people over here and Christine serves these people over there, and that they want similar services but different transformations in some respects, or they're coming from a different point of view, and so we can serve them differently. And so that's important to remember in your niche, that it really is more about the problem that you solve and the transformation that you provide than this very narrow, tiny audience that you're trying to get into. And that gets into competition is a gift. Many times we want to have such a narrow audience that we have no competition, right? Again, we're going to create this avatar that is so rare that no one else is serving them, because we think that if we are the only one serving them, that that's the best way to build our business. However, when we are too narrow, then it is harder to find clients. And it may be that no one is serving that small segment because that segment isn't looking to be helped. So we want to make sure that we're finding a segment of the population that is actually looking for the transformation, that it's a proven concept, and that people are ready to take that next step. So when you look around and you see, oh, other people are doing the same thing. I mean, Christine and I are very similar in what we do. However, we serve completely different people and we both have businesses. When there's competition, it means that what you're doing has value and that people are seeking it out. And so it's a proven concept again. So don't try to find something that's no competition. As I say, there's nothing new under the sun. So just serve in a big way.
Well, so that's a great time to make a note, right? Talk about transformation. So how do you help your client transform, right? What are they trying to go from to? That's going to help you decide really what you're focusing on. So go ahead and put that in the chat.
Yes, you really need to, more than anything in marketing, you need to know what that transformation is, where you're taking them from and to. It's so much more important, and we're going to talk more about that right now. So it isn't about you. When we get into marketing, especially in this time of influencers and social media, we think it's all about us, right? How we're dressed, our brand colors, how we present ourselves, how people see our lives through the lens, which again, remember, it's always, you're seeing the very narrow good things through that lens, right? So we think that it's about us and we are what they are buying. But again, they aren't buying us. There are people that will attract to you that may not attract to somebody else, even though, again, in competition, you provide the same service. However, it's more about what you can do for them. So you need to talk about them, not you. And this comes to a sales psychology tenet, is that people are afraid to make change. They're afraid of change because it can set them up that they might fail, right? And no one wants to fail. Or it creates fear. The unfamiliar is scary. And so people in their minds will find any reason not to take the next step. And when you talk too much about you and how wonderful you are and why you are the perfect person to serve them, then they put you up on this pedestal and make all these excuses. So she can't understand me because she has more money, she has more help, she was just lucky, whatever it is. You know, she's taller than me, she's shorter than me. There's all kinds of scenarios that they can create, and none of them need to be true. What they're doing is protecting themselves from accidentally buying into something that isn't going to work for them, and then they're going to have to risk failure again. So remember, you're focusing on them. You're talking to them. Yes, you want to be the expert, but you're talking about them and where they are.
So it sounds like, Jennifer, you're kind of talking about how relatable, right? Are you being relatable? Are you, because if, like you said, the pedestal, they can't relate. Well, then how can they get from where they are to where you are? Where's that transformation that can they do that? Is it possible? Right?
Yes. And that's where realizing that you are your ideal client back a ways is important, because if you can talk about where you were before you had that transformation and that leap and decide to serve people, then they can say, oh, she does understand, because what she's saying is exactly what I'm feeling, and I thought I was the only one. We all think that we're unique and really we all have very similar problems. So everybody is frustrated, tired, and overwhelmed. No matter whether you're selling a vacuum cleaner or you're selling $50,000 coaching package, that's where your clients are falling in: frustrated, tired, and overwhelmed. So just remember that. So you want to identify with your audience. You want to speak to not only their fear. A lot of times marketers say, oh, play on their fears. Fear doesn't really sell, because if you have people who are already overwhelmed and stressed, then when you add doses of fear, that makes them retreat more often. And so it's harder for them to take the next step. We need to identify with them by speaking to, like, acknowledging those fears and speaking to the questions that they're afraid to ask, but also encouraging them that, yes, they're not alone. This can happen. It is completely doable and they can do it. And so that takes me to the last one, which is empowering them to take the next step. Scared, confused, and overwhelmed people do not make decisions. They stay stuck. They retreat, and they don't take the next step. So if you push them into a corner, they're not going to say yes. Empowered people do take the next step. And so when you empower them by letting them acknowledge what the problem is and knowing that they can change it, then they can take the next step. They can continue to follow you. They can decide to buy into whatever product or service you offer, and they can become a loyal fan of yours. And so it's important to realize that you don't want to hold back all your information that, oh, well, if you pay me, then you can find out X, Y, and Z. But until then, you just stay stuck, because they're going to stay stuck and they're not going to say yes to you. They need to know that you know enough and you are trustworthy for them to take that next step, and then be empowered to recognize, like, yes, this is a problem. This is what I need, and I can do this with help. Okay, so the last thing that they want to hear. There was a golden age of like online coaching and courses when we could go out there and say, I have 153 modules with 14 videos in each one and 5 workbooks and 2 of this and you go on, and people be like, wow. That doesn't happen anymore, because at the time creating those was impressive. That's what they were buying into. If somebody knows how to create all these things, they must be an expert. They've realized that there are people that can create those and still don't know what they're talking about and can't help them. And also, they've also realized that they will buy into these things with 153 modules and they're never going to do it. Almost 80% of people that buy into an online course don't finish. So the features and the benefits, all the things you're giving them, first of all, it doesn't really sell them, because they're not going out there saying, I'm looking for a module that's going to help me deal with X, Y, and Z. Okay. They're going out there saying, I'm tired, frustrated, and overwhelmed with this. I wish I could change it. And so focusing on the benefits and features, you can put them in there because there are the people who just keep scrolling and want to keep reading, right? But they should be closer to the bottom, or even in your presentation, I would mostly leave them out until people start asking. If you're doing a sales call, they have value, but really the value, again, is the transformation you're giving them. Don't sell your product. So many times you'll see this, especially on social media, where they're like, hey, I have this great product and you can buy it here. And then they say, oh, Jennifer, I tried selling on social media and it doesn't work, because you're not supposed to be selling. Social media is about building connections. It's social. It's not selling. Now, I know that there is social selling now in like the TikTok shop, or Instagram has a way of selling. There's other platforms that are bringing that on, but that is a completely different thing than putting up posts about your business and attracting ideal clients. You don't want to sell. Again, you want to empower. And you don't want to sell how amazing you are either, like we just spoke of. So we may think that sharing all of our degrees and our awards and this and that will make people want to work with us. No, because it kicks in that reverse psychology and they retreat. So what do they really need to hear? They need to hear what overcomes their objections, and not in a way that you're convincing them to buy something from you, but that you're acknowledging that they have these questions, that there are things going through their mind, and you're speaking to them. So if they are afraid of failing, then you can talk about maybe a client that, was afraid of failing and made this transformation, how it changed their life. There are ways to address their objectives without being pushy about it. So in your writing, you want to know very intimately what the objections, the false beliefs are of your clients. So you can interweave that in there for them to read and acknowledge that this person really knows what I'm going through and understands what I need. The second big thing are the questions they're afraid to ask. We all have questions that we think are stupid questions, right? They always say there's no such thing as a stupid question. But yet, all of us, as adults, even no matter what age we are, have questions that we think, if I ask this, what will people think about me when I ask this? And they could be things that aren't even completely formed into a question, but it's rumbling around in our brain. And so when you can speak directly to them, it's like that aha, like, how did she even know that? That's like digging deep into my personal backspace of my brain. And she understood that. She must know what she's talking about. So understanding those is a very big part of marketing, and AI is a great tool for figuring that out. And also that they aren't alone. Again, we all think that we're unique, that the problems we have never existed before, that no one can understand what we're going through, and it's just so hard that it can never be solved. And so when you show that they aren't alone, that there's other people going through this, there's other people that understand, that again empowers them to make that next step. And that's the biggest thing that you need to do.
Well, so you dropped that AI word, so I'm going to follow up and ask. So in this process, if we wanted to kind of get a better idea about what they really need to hear, is that one of the recommendations you make for your clients, or?
I do. I generally do the research for them and create an ideal client guide for them to use. And then sometimes we will use that guide then to create other things. But I have a series of prompts that I have worked through it's a basic thing, but it gives you information like what are the questions they're afraid to ask? What are their main objections? What do they really need to hear? What are the top 5 webinars that somebody in this audience would attend? Whether you're going to do webinars or not, it's great to know what kind of topics intrigue them. What do they need to hear on social media to say yes? So we go through all of those so they can really get a deep understanding of what's going on in their client's head and their life and what they're looking for, instead of just trying to sell the product.
That makes sense.
Yes. So to recap, we went over how to really understand your ideal client. Again, it's not about the tennis shoes that they wear, what kind of cereal they eat. It's really about where they are and where they want to get to and the transformation you can provide. Bring them in, don't just show off. You want to bring them into a conversation. You don't want to be up on a stage with people clapping at you. The being on a stage and having fans clap is a great thing. And there are times that happens and you let people know that it happened, but that's not how to win friends and influence people. The way you do that is to bring them into a conversation. Like that old Charles Schwab that had the commercial about how they were listening and they were always there to help you, that type of idea. And speak so they will listen. So now that you have them in the conversation, have a conversation at their level, acknowledging what they're going through, and speak in a way that is what they need to hear, so that what you're saying, because we all say things, but then our audience doesn't hear it the way we think they do. What we're saying is exactly the way they are hearing it. And so that there is that coming together and growth. And I just realized that my QR code is not on here. I thought I fixed it right before the thing and then it didn't upload. So let me see if I can do that, because I have a QR code for a free ideal client guide that will walk you through the exercise of defining who is your ideal client based on this, what I've told you about. So speaking to them so that they can hear it, you can increase your income by speaking to the people in the right way. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that, but I can drop the link to that in the chat.
Is there a booking link that you have for people who want to make an appointment with you?
Oh, I can't drop it in the chat. Can I give it to you, Christine, and you can drop it in the chat?
Sure.
It wants me to sign into all these things, and I don't want to.
No problem. We'll go ahead and put that out here. So this is the link And this link, it takes them to what?
That takes them to the Attract Your Ideal Client Easily guide, which is
Okay.
a workbook basically, but it's a very targeted one that walks you through the exercises to figure out all of these things about your ideal client, so that you can make more informed decisions when you're trying to talk to them and empower them to change what they're doing. And this is, and I know it's a terribly long link, but that is my booking link if you would just like to schedule a coffee chat to sit down and talk about your ideal client or your business and where you're trying to get to. And
All
see
right.
how we
So go ahead and check in the chat. That's where we've dropped the link to get the free guide. In addition to, we're going to drop the link for Jennifer's booking link. So if you want to book an appointment with her, you'll have that opportunity. So what's it like to do an appointment with you, Jennifer?
Well, generally you start out, I want to know about you. So I ask you about your business, your goals, where you are and where you want to get to, who you serve. And then we have a little discussion about what that looks like, give you a few tips, and then see how we could work together or collaborate, because I do love to collaborate. It's not just about, selling things. It's about growing my network and getting to work with more amazing people.
I totally understand. It's all about gathering your tribe and the kinds of people that you want to do business with and that you want to do life with.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, so that's in the chat. So you have an opportunity to get her free guide in addition to an opportunity to book a free consultation with her. This is no cost. So remember, when you book these appointments, you're having an opportunity to kind of peel back the layers and find out what's going on, right? We've got an expert in the room. So bring your questions, because Jennifer has experience in all these different areas. She will help you, relate to your ideal client. And that's going to result in hopefully more sales, right? And success in your business. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming and sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you. It was great to be here. Sorry about the hiccup with the last slide, but
it happens, right? How well we pivot when something goes wrong says a lot about our character. So fantastic job today, Jennifer. Love that. Go ahead and hit those links in the chat and reach out to Jennifer if you've got any questions. We're having great fun today. And I just wanted to say thank you so much again.
Bye.
Fantastic. So we are just rolling along. This is insane. It's hard to believe that we've got so many marketing professionals that are coming in to share with you, share their wisdom with you. We have just been so lucky to be able to work with so many fantastic marketers. Now, if you remember today, we also not only had this marketing summit, but we're also going to have a marketing summit networking event. This is a special event that we do once a year. So you want to grab it while you can. So that's going to be today, 11:15 a.m. PST time. So be sure to register for that. That's givermarketing.com/connect. We'll get you the information. But go ahead and come hang out with us. This gives you a chance to kind of network, get to know some of us, and get to know each other. So this is the time to kind of connect and have your tribe, right? Gather your tribe. Just one of the many things that we're having fun with today. But we're excited because our next speaker is already ready to rock and roll. And I'm excited to bring her on the stage. Keisha, come on in. Hey, girlfriend.
Hello, how are you?
We are having fun today. Now, you, however, have been playing in this space. How did you get to where you are right now? Because I know that you're like the video guru, right? So, I mean, this is fun space. We're going to have some fun today. Talk to us a little bit. How did you get involved in all this? How did you get to where you are?
It's interesting. It's one of those kind of unforeseen paths, right? So I was in executive retail for 20 plus years, focused on customer strategy, things like that. And I was like, man, I need to rebrand myself as I want to coach businesses and do some different things. And I thought the best way to do that would be to post videos on LinkedIn. And so I would force myself, to post videos 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I got bored of like looking at myself talking all the time. And so, I was like, okay, well, how I found it. I found a software and I was like, man, I can create a little character that's animated that looks like me And I can mix those in with my recorded videos. And so I started doing that on LinkedIn, and people started DMing me like, hey, who does your videos? Can you refer me to that person? And like, it's just me. But that happened enough where I decided, you know what, it's fun to me. And it kind of mixes everything that I love to do. I can still do customer experience online. I'm a techie, I have a marketing background. And so enough people did that I got trained and certified to do a lot of different types of videos. And so now I do those for businesses.
Oh my goodness, so much fun. You know, it's, if you've ever dabbled in the video, you're like, oh, and then you see other people's videos, you're like, oh, how did they do that? Right. And so it's just got to be such a fun space to play in. And video is all the rage right now, right?
Yes, more than it ever has been before.
So now is the time. If you're looking at video and you're thinking about, I should probably jump into this space, I think you're going to share some options with us today, aren't you? What's your topic today?
Yes, ma'am. So video that converts without being on camera, unless you want to. We won't discourage you from being on camera, but there are some ways to do it without having to be on camera.
Ooh, so that's a whole different way, right? We're always thinking we have to be front and center, right? Or it's like, but some days you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to do your hair that day. I don't know, right?
Right.
There are times maybe you want a video that you're not necessarily right there talking on it. So you're saying we have options.
You have options, lots of options.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to this one. Go for it, Keisha. Let's hear it.
All right, awesome. So let's see here. I can click to the next slide. So you kind of asked the question, why video, why now? It's kind of non-negotiable at this point because, you know, businesses are looking to connect with their audience and drive results. Video is being prioritized by almost every platform, and now even including LinkedIn. And so if you're not doing video, you're going to lose visibility, which is going to, you know, potentially you may still be successful, but you're not going to maximize your potential if you're not doing video, right? And the reason is because it builds trust. It kind of helps you shorten that relationship cycle and that sales cycle when you do video. And quite frankly, like, platforms love it. Google loves video because it increases your SEO. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but if you put video on your social media, your website, even your Google business profile, which most people don't do, you will get prioritized in the search engines. So that's one of the main reasons people are doing it, as well as, you know, you can create an experience online. So versus just, you know, static content that might be learning something, but it doesn't feel like an experience, right? So if it's more of an experience, people are more likely to engage with your brand long term. So that's really the reason for the shift and the impact that it can make. So everybody knows about recording video. So we're going to talk about off-camera video, the off-camera advantage. And it's, you know, it's really easier and more practical for any business and any person to be on video and have a consistent presence. So it's accessible to everybody, right? To your point, it eliminates kind of the pressure or having to feel, you know, camera ready. You don't have to worry about your hair. You don't have to worry about what you're wearing. You don't have to worry about your lighting and mic, all the setup things that you have to do every time you create a video. It eliminates the issue of finding time to record because you have to be consistent to have the impact. And so it eliminates that as well. But it's also accessible for, you know, people who maybe they have some type of disability, right? And there's some reason they maybe can't effectively do camera. It's done so many things for different people. So that's one of the main reasons. And then there's more focused messaging. Now, while you could argue that you may see more of someone's personality when they're talking, I don't know about you, but I tend to go down rabbit holes. Sometimes stuff pops in my head when I'm talking. I just start talking about something else that may be related, but it's not as focused of a message. Whereas off-camera video, you're typically providing a script. You typically have a voiceover. The message kind of stays, you know, concise. There's clarity around it, which may actually give, you know, better understanding and comprehension when people are watching your video about what you're actually trying to tell them. And it's a higher level of engagement as well. So there's that piece. And then there's versatility. when you record a video, there's only so many times you can post that same video of Keisha talking, where people are going to be just tuned out and it kind of blends into the background, right? But when you do different types of video that we'll talk about, you can actually post them. They're more evergreen, I'll call it. You can actually post them multiple times. You can post them in a bunch of different places as well. So let's say you have a demo video or you have a video about your services. You can put it as social media post, website. It could be as an explainer. It can be in your email signature. A lot of people don't put video in their email signature. It can actually be as a video email in the body of the email, so many different ways. And you can continue to use it where people are going to continue to engage because of the type of video that it is, which gives you more impact for what you're doing with the videos that you have. And then they're time saving. If you think about I spend a lot of time in front of a camera or my iPhone recording videos, but they're time saving, and you can delegate that, especially if you want to partner with someone and get a bunch more videos done and still do what you need to do around your business. Yep. So video that converts without being on camera. So a couple different kinds. The kind people mostly think of is like the stock videos, which are kind of the standard ones. You can get them on Canva, you can get them on all these different sites, but they don't really differentiate you. You kind of connect them together based off connection to the words that you're using, but not necessarily connected to the personality of your brand. So you can step it up with premium video, which is like cinematic video. So think about sitting in a theater before the movie starts and they'll tell you about this new movie's coming out, but they're using stock video with text over it versus how you actually see the trailer of the movie coming out and you feel it, you see it. There's all these special effects and different transitions. That's the difference between stock video and cinematic video for premium video. And then there's the AI avatars. I'm sure you've seen them. There's the realistic ones. You have the animated ones, but there's also the realistic ones that they look like you. You can do the cloned AI voice, right? Where it sounds like you as well. And they can be used for thought leadership, to share tips, FAQs, all these different things, which are becoming very popular with businesses. And then animation, which is also near and dear to my heart. You can use animated videos really great for storytelling. Also really good for onboarding, whether it's for customers, whether it's for internally. You can use those to deliver and get that emotional connection. And those really are something that you can use over and over long term. And then, the repurposed videos, right? So we're doing a summit today, and then you have webinars, you have Zoom calls where you're doing it anyway, like you're not intentionally doing it for a video, but it's being recorded and you can repurpose that where you don't have to get back on camera to share the same message. You can kind of take it to the next level as you edit it and make it a little bit more engaging than just when somebody's watching you online. And then interactive, I don't know a lot of people doing interactive, but interactive, you can kind of use any of these types of video, but you're adding interactive elements to it. So people can engage directly with your brand without you being in front of them or on camera, and they can click right inside the video. And it might be to say, you know what, I only want to learn about this one service in more detail. I'm going to click on this image about that service and it takes me to this next video, kind of like a choose your own adventure, if you will. Or they can click right inside the video and download your ebook or your PDF, or click right inside and schedule with you, or really even purchase right inside the video as well, which is a different level of experience that can 2x or 3x your conversion and really be effective. And you don't have to be on camera for that either.
Wow, you just went over a whole lot of different areas, right? So for people that haven't really been doing much with video, but have been thinking about it, right? Now you've planted all these thoughts of what they might do with it. Just wow. A lot of this sounds very techie.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So for those that haven't done this before, right? They're probably sitting on the edge of their seat going, yes, no, yes. Any words of advice for them?
Yeah, if you want to try to do it yourself, I mean, there's some more simple types of softwares that you can use, right? So if you think about the AI avatar, there's softwares like HeyGen that you can use, and you can kind of play around with it. They have some tutorials on there. that you can start to play with that yourself. I know, people use some of the different, more basic animation softwares that have more, if you want to use it more template based versus as customized. And you can create some animated videos that way. So I would suggest starting with, software that's kind of the first level of the software until you get used to it. Now, I will say, in an effort to save time, as you learn, you're going to spend more time trying to do that. But you can also, partner with someone who does that, a freelancer or an agency that does those things that can do those for you. And really, then all you have to do is say, hey, this is my goal of the video. Here's the script, or can you help me write the script, and give your feedback on revisions. And that's all you have to do. And then, they kind of do the rest of the magic for you.
Just wow, right? Most people are probably going, oh my goodness, she really knows her stuff. And she does. If you haven't seen any of Keisha's work, she's amazing. Do you have any samples that you brought with us today?
I did not bring any samples today.
So maybe we'll sweet talk her into that before she gets off the screen today. Just saying, if you happen to have anything laying around that you wanted to share with us, we wouldn't complain.
Okay. All right. So, you want me to go on to the next slide, or?
Sure.
All right. So let's see here. So we kind of went through, why, the what, the how. A big thing for me is the tangible piece of it. A lot of people, or one of the reasons that a lot of businesses kind of fail to go all in on video, even if they get how important it is it's not as tangible as everything else, right? You hire a salesperson, you can figure out the output that you're getting from that, right? You do an ad, you can usually figure out the output from that. And usually with video, it's not that easy unless you're using interactive, which has data. But there is a way to figure that out, because it's really important that you understand the connection between your customer experience, the video you're creating, and then, how that's going to impact your top line or your bottom line. And so, a way to do that is you can use a very simple ROI video calculator. And what that looks like is you're going to put in just a couple things that you already should know, right? Like, you should know what your average customer value is, right? So from each customer that you interact with, do you make $500? Do you make $3,000? You can key that into the calculator. And then you can key in your typical conversion rate. You should know what your typical conversion rate is. And then you can key in, okay, I think I want to spend, $300 a month on video, or I think I can spend up to $900 a month on video. And you can key that budget into the calculator as well. And then the average amount of leads you generate each month, and it will calculate what your ROI would be from spending that money on those videos for your business. And you can kind of help you connect the dots between, what you're spending on video, the leads that you're getting, how you're converting it in that. So I think it's really important to always understand how is something impacting our business, and not just from impressions and shares and likes. I mean, those are cool, but that doesn't help you, from a profitability standpoint. So making it a little bit more tangible, you can use an ROI calculator, which, and the things that you get for being, in attendance today will be something that I'll share, a free ROI video calculator for everyone that's at the marketing summit.
Well, so what kind of results are you seeing?
So for me, the way that I track mine is, and I post, clearly I post a lot of video. But, I used to in the beginning, I'll be honest, in the beginning I'm looking at, because I'm trying to get more awareness and all that, how many people engage with my videos. But then I started tracking, okay, based off the videos that I'm posting and the time that I'm spending, how many people are getting on my calendar. And so what I realized is not only the more video I post, the more consistent I am, but also the more I mix it up, which is something I talk about a lot, not just posting the same type of video all the time. I tend to see an increase in that. And so I get, besides, your typical referrals and networking meetings, I get people who reach out to me and ask for consultations, and a lot of, and then obviously I convert at a certain degree based off seeing videos that I'm posting, whether it be on Facebook or it be on LinkedIn, and sometimes people will share my videos because you can use a video also as kind of a digital one pager. And they'll say, hey, somebody shared this video that you have with me. Based off that, I really want to talk to you. I think I want to do video. So it's been a big game changer for my business, which is why now I like helping businesses with it. I think if I hadn't started doing video, even though I'm technically an introvert, I had to force myself to do it. I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be where I am today, just doing the typical strategy.
Well, wow. Just seeing how your business transforms with this process, right? Being able to do video. And I know we've seen a lot with reels and things that are casual, but this is the more of the professional level, right? Where it's produced ahead of time, not just your Facebook Lives, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah, but it's more professional. It's more creative and innovative, but it's also much more strategic because it should tie to your overall goals that you have around your target audience, as well as your goals for revenue and based off your competition, all of those things, which we take into consideration as we create video. So that's what you should be taking into consideration versus just, oh, today I think I'm going to talk about this, right? Like there should be some strategy behind it that kind of helps you continue to move forward towards your goals.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I could see there's all the different uses. So now we've looked at the different styles you can use and how you can use it. And really, the video can be anywhere from your forward-facing marketing to even, like you said, with the employees inside, with the training, with it. There's just so many opportunities to use video. One of the things I've always enjoyed about it is it really gives the audience a chance to kind of get a better feel for your brand, right? Because it's live, it's moving, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things I like to tell clients is, you can really take the opportunity with video, unlike anything else, to help put your audience at the intersection of both your personal and your professional brand, which makes, kind of magnifies that connection. So.
Ooh. Write that down, folks. Video will help you bring together your business brand and your personal brand together. So right there. Yep. Yes, that's exactly what it does. I love that. What else you have for us, Keisha?
I think that was the last slide. I mean, at the end of the day, really the takeaway should be that, number one, anybody can do video. Whatever the excuse is now, we've kind of removed the roadblocks and given you some detours around how you can do video and have consistent presence, whether you want to be on camera or not. It's accessible to anybody. Like the sky's the limit with creativity now that we do have all of these different technologies. But really making sure that, you're focused with strategic placement, tie it to your overall business strategy, customer focused content, which we really didn't talk about, but, the more you can have your current customers, previous customers, your target audience help inform the content of your video, and then having that clear understanding what your ROI can be is really what's going to make video a key part of your marketing strategy that helps you perform at a different level.
Well, so if you happen to have any visuals that you wanted to share that was any of your videos and you knew where something was really quick, I wouldn't complain if you wanted to share it.
Well, let's see. Really quick.
Because I'm a huge fan.
We have the Giver marketing video. I don't know if you want to look at that.
We could pull that up.
All right, let's see here. See if I can share this. Oh, all right, so if I want to share this,
then we'll remove this one.
Okay.
Do the share screen.
Share screen. And then, let's see if I can, where did it go? Oh, window.
So if I'm not mistaken, you're going to show us an animated video, which is one of the things that you love to create. And I know when I saw the interactive videos, those really caught my attention. It makes you change the way you think about video. So we have a lot of fun options. All right, I'm going to pull it up. Here comes.
Marketing network, we don't leave you on the sidelines. We connect you to a coach to help you build and grow your marketing business. Each member in this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence. We're looking to collaborate on more projects. Visibility, SEO, logo creation, website design, social media, visual storytelling, and more. The most trusted and highest rated collective of marketing specialists. We have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable intros and helping each other by teaming up. Upwork meets a network and a coach. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies. Help, partner, collaborate. Paid project consideration, professional marketing software suite, payment processing for client. Collaboration with and refer other marketing specialists, giver-sponsored events, email and Bonusly account. Welcome to our community of marketing professionals.
Oh, how fun. I love it. And you've got like the little avatars created, right? So I recognize Timothy, right? With the red and the white and the beard. And I mean, when you start thinking like, I could have my own avatar. How cool would that be, right? Being the diva, I would, of course, want a crown, but, you know, just saying there's options, right? It really starts making you think about what you can do that would be so different rather than walking around with my crown on all day, right? I could just have a video where I'm wearing the crown, right? So I just love the creativity and the use of humor. You had him, I believe you also had Timothy Morgan, our CEO, with a cape on, right? And laser beams shooting out of his eyes. I love that, right? So do you find that a lot of your clients are incorporating elements of humor, some exaggeration? Are they having some fun with them?
Yeah, most of my clients have some fun with it because, again, it's, you know, you're trying to create this experience, right? You don't just want an avatar of yourself up there talking in place of you, right? There's a way that is, you know, it's kind of it's edutainment, right? It's a combination of education and entertainment that is really taking off and helping people be engaged. And when I talked about the intersection of personal and professional, they have some fun with that as well. You know, I have a client who's amazing, and he used to be a pro golfer, and he coaches businesses and has these, you know, workshops for business leaders. But his video, if you watch it, is set on an animated golf course. It is not set in an office, right? So that adds a little bit of fun to it, but also kind of connects to who he is, but also what he does as an analogy for, you know, his coaching. So there's so many things you can do with different type of videos that are based with technology to make them really, really cool and custom.
That really does sound like fun. You have any other ones that you've worked on recently that you want to tell us about?
I guess I could share. I guess I'm allowed to share. I mean, I'm working on one right now with an amazing professor at university that's actually here in DFW, who is had an accident and lost his voice. Permanently lost his voice. And so we're working on one that awesome character looks like him and dresses the way he likes to dress, and using a clone of his original voice so that he can let students know that he's still teaching and encourage them to take his course, which I think is really awesome. Whenever I can work with someone in a way that really feels like serving, like those are the best ones for me to do. So.
Wow, you just opened a whole world of possibilities, right? Oh my goodness, for inclusion and oh wow. You've thought of ways to use this that I never even thought of. This is wonderful. Wow. All right, so put your creative caps on, y'all, and think about, you know, what kind of challenges do you have for Keisha? What might you want her to create for you for video? Well, so let's pull up. You have your how they can reach out to you and get any freebies and what you got for us.
Yeah, let me put my link right here for you.
Okay, it looks like we're going to share. Oh, there we go. All right, so what are you offering here? I see a calendar link. We're about to share that.
Yep, so calendar link, that will be a free video consultation to see how video might be able to work for anyone and kind of get those creative juices flowing, if you will. And then also the video ROI calculator. Here, I can share that as well if you don't have that handy. Let's see.
Sure. All right. Check the links now, y'all. The links in the chat. You can get a free video consultation with Keisha. And so that link is there to book on her calendar. And then you've got the free, you said this is a calculator.
Yep.
Okay,
So this will help you calculate your return on investment if, when you're thinking about how much you want to invest for video versus, some of the other KPIs or key metrics for your business.
Okay. So this is a ROI video calculator. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. That's
right. Because that's part of what it is. We spend money on our marketing and then we think about, okay, well, what did I get out of this? Right. And there's nothing worse than feeling like you spent money and like you didn't get the results you're looking for. So setting up those realistic expectations, right? What makes sense? So this can kind of help calculate and let you know what you want. So grab that link in chat also and download or grab that. Yep. Open that up and check out that calculator. I think you've given us so much to think about in the video space. So those who have been a little shy, you get to know that there are other options available.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to be on screen all the time. This is where Keisha comes in handy, right? So definitely take advantage of that opportunity for that consultation with her because it's going to make a difference, right? How can you bring more video into your business?
Yes.
Right? Most of us are going to say we probably don't have as much video and use video as often as we probably feel like we should.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what happens.
Most people don't say, oh, I just have too much video. I just do it. I have way too much. Said most people never. Right. So
I don't even say that.
Exactly. And you do it all the time. Right. So think about that. If this is something that's been on your radar and this is popular right now, now's a great time to book that appointment, talk to her and see what the possibilities of how video can expand your business. I love it. Thank you so much for coming and talking with us today, Keisha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. We will see you again later. All right, y'all. So we are working our way through. We have another presenter this morning. And then after that, we're going to have our networking event. So once again, don't forget, if you haven't registered yet, register at givermarketing.com/connect. And that will let you register for our upcoming networking special event. Okay. But first, I'm excited. Oh, I'm bringing Joel on. Joel, are you ready?
I am ready. Can you hear me okay?
We can't. Actually, you're a little bit loud.
Oh, all right. I'll try not to.
He's like, I'll try not to be too excited then. No, bring the enthusiasm. I know it, Joel. I am excited. So, Joel, you have gone through this amazing marketing journey, but I know about it, but everybody else doesn't always know about it. So share a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today as the marketing guru that you are.
Well, I don't know about guru, but I will say that it's been a journey. And what's fun about it is, I cut my teeth in the corporate marketing world, and I spent several years doing incentive programs for large corporations to reward employee behavior that positively impacts the bottom line. And so really understanding all of the different elements of business and how it relates to bottom line profits makes a big difference when you're talking about creating a marketing program, right? Because there's resources required and budgets that are required that all come right off of the bottom line. And I always say I try to be very fiduciary when I come to a client's budget and say, hey, listen, we want to be responsible. We know this is money that you could be using for a vacation or something that, that relates to you in another way. But we know that when it comes to investing in your business, we want to get a return on that investment. And so as a marketing professional, we want to be very open to how the overall business, how it impacts the overall business. And that doesn't just mean money. You could have an incredibly successful campaign and not have the people to service it, right? Or you could get leads in and not be able to get to them. There's lots of different things that impact the business. You could be selling a lot of widgets and then find out you can't keep up with production. So we have to make sure we understand how that all works together. And that's what got me into the situation I'm in today, which is advising entrepreneurs, small, medium, regional businesses. I even have, very large clients where we work in support of their marketing team, filling in the gaps and providing direction and coaching. So, there's places for it, but the bottom line of all of that is when you have a properly structured campaign that's addressing your desired outcomes, right? We can work that process backwards and make sure that we have the resources and knowledge in place to facilitate it.
Now, I love that you always have a very holistic approach, right? And how everything ties together. It's not like, oh, we can just fix this one little part. Well, that probably impacts this, which impacts that, right? So looking at that whole marketing as a holistic view. I love your approach on that, Joel.
Thanks. Yeah, I think, a lot of agencies get into this niche mentality when you're a hammer, everything's a nail, right? So you come to a client and we have to redo your website, or you have to join our CRM system, or you go into our funnel process in the way that we've designed it, right? Because we've been doing it this way for so many different people. And as a fractional CMO, I like to focus on streamlining and making sure everything is working together. And so it's done in the way they do business, right? How do you want your business to run? What resources do you have? Where does the information need to go? How can we service the clients that we attract?
Absolutely. And so what are we focusing on today, Joel?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the top of the funnel, right? So everything starts with an audience, right? We have a desired outcome. We have a system in place. Who are we going to push this out to? So let's talk about really how to dial in a target audience. And now you've had some good presentations along the way on this topic. So let me just see if I can't, bring it back into context a little bit more.
Absolutely. And the great thing about the Giver Marketing Network is we have all these different marketers, and everybody comes with just a little bit different perspective to the table. So depending on what your goals are and what you want to write, different marketers are going to appeal to you more. You're like, ooh, I definitely want to talk to that person. All right. So you have lots of options to choose from, and we all work together really well. We've been known to collaborate on projects, which is really nice when you can have that kind of respect for other marketers and be willing to bring them in and work alongside to do the best for the client. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So I'm going to, let's see what happened here.
I'm probably start show.
Start show. Present. There we go.
There you go. Looks good to me.
Always changes a little bit here and there. Okay, so we're going to talk about fly fishing versus net fishing, right? So when we start with audience building, you'll hear everything from start broad and wait for people to raise their hand to know exactly who you're talking to, and this is the only people we're going after, right? But what we're looking at here is intent. And when I say fly fishing, you throw a rod into a specific place where that fish is, you give it something to bite on, and you bring it in, right? With a net, you're just trying to scoop up a bunch of fish. But what we do here is we start with targeting and messaging. And so we're going to research, right? So when I mention the word intent, what I'm talking about is people that are exhibiting behaviors that are leading indicators that they're searching for something that you can provide. So in the research phase, we're looking at all the different ways that people display intent. And it could be searching keywords, it could be visiting websites, it could be how they interact on social media, right? So there's lots of different ways to find that. But number one research that one aspect that people tend to leave out is the research aspect, and really spending the time to drilling that down so that you can identify intent. And then speaking directly to that audience based on the behaviors that they're exhibiting, the websites that they visit, how they work on social media, right? And have that message that speaks directly to them that identifies you as a, I don't want to say expert, but a credible resource. Okay. So when we do the research and we speak directly, we position ourselves as a credible resource. We also have this desired outcome in focus, so we know how to direct the conversation. And then we want to make sure that we have a follow-up or a welcome system set up. And I'm going to go into detail on that a little bit as we go along here. And then a stay in touch mechanism is just a way to continue to nurture that audience to bring them closer to you over time, because people are not already ready to buy today, right? So one thing I wanted to bring out was we want to change with the times, but we don't change the principles of success. And what I mean by that is one of the things that's changing with time is how we present ourselves in a digital way. But the principle that we don't want to lose sight of is being human, right? So take generalities out of your marketing language, speak directly, like I mentioned earlier, and be human, right? Find that hidden value. What is the emotional connection to your message that's going to cause someone to pay attention and possibly take action, right? And once we've done that, we can actually present our business based on our business model. Once we've been given permission, meaning that you've spoken directly, they've responded to you, they've given you permission to introduce yourself. Now, how do you position yourself? And there's lots of different levels of this. And you can come in as a discounter. You can come in as a high value vendor, a volume vendor, bespoke vendor, concierge vendor. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that, but you want to be very clear on your business model and how you fit into the market. And please, people, simplicity is efficiency. If we can do our research and speak directly, find the connection, get permission, present ourselves in a way that's logical and impacts them, it's a very simple approach. And here's the research side of it, right? There's tools out there, lots of freebies and lots of that makes it easy to identify your audience. And today, gosh, Google Maps. I mean, how clear is that, right? If I just put in, okay, I want to find a local business, I type in landscape services, and boom, 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 right? There they are in that geographic area. And now you've got a very broad target to start from. Then we're going to research the market. So when we do reach out to people, we want to provide some type of value-based message. We did some research. We work with a research company, and they reach out to consumers all across the United States every year, and they do a survey question, and these survey questions are related to all the different types of things that consumers purchase. So in this case, do you plan to shop a landscaping service? So in this client's market of 30,000 homes, they were able to say 5,190 of them said yes, they're planning to shop for landscape services in the next 12 months. So how compelling of a message would that be if you, as a business-to-business service provider, you could go to a landscape company and say, did you know that in this local market, 4,000 households are looking for you? And if they are buying that, that could relate to a lot of money. So I don't know why this screen just went black. Am I still connected, Christine?
I don't know. You do have a black screen though. Maybe it likes the next slide better, or oh, it's spinning. It's thinking. There you go.
Here we go. All right. So here we go. That's crazy. So here it is. So how compelling would it be to be able to go to that client and let them see how much money would be available to them simply by picking up 14% of that market? So again, having good value-based messaging. And then we have a welcome system, right? So we're going to take little micro steps to nurture our audience. After we've done our discovery call, we get some information from them. We then do a deep analysis on how we can support them, create a proposal. I like to call it a scope of work. This is how we're going to do it. And then setting up milestones and benchmarks, right? We want to hit a certain target in a certain amount of time. We want to hit a certain volume at the end of the campaign. We want to deliver messages and create our database so that we can continue to nurture and bring people through the connection requests. So
I like
whether
the
it's
way you mentioned that about the proposal, milestones and benchmarks, right? This way your clients know what to expect, right?
yeah, and you need to have that conversation too with the client, right? It's not something that you make up, but can you beat industry standards, right? And if you have some benchmarks out there that tell you the cost of acquisition of a new client is roughly $86 in your industry, now you have some context to talk to the client about, and they're able to measure the performance of their campaign, right? So if your cost of acquisition is $150, but the industry average is $86, we have to explain it, right? Or we have to refine it or optimize in a different way. So lots of little nuances in here, from discovery and analysis to scope of work. But like you said, milestones and benchmarks, setting proper expectations, telling them how we're going to get there within a certain amount of time, and what our desired outcome might look like. So here's where I want to spend a little bit of time. So in our principles, here's a little checklist if you want to screenshot this. This is something that you can take with you. But the researching the target market, we talked about that. Researching the customer, we talked a little about that. Developing some compelling data, right? How many people in the market are looking for what you're doing? How does that look like in terms of potential revenue? How are we going to attract that market? We're going to speak specifically and put them into our welcome system. We've set up our collaboration, our milestones, and now we're thinking about some principles. So first of all, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. I want that to sink in for a minute because we get so tied into what I call shiny object syndrome, or some guru on some social media place is putting six-figure digits on their audience building techniques, right? You can get 10x your business in 30 days, right? If you just buy our process and buy our tool. So what we really want to focus on is the individual and the interaction. We talked about desired outcomes, right? We want to know what that is going into it, and then we want to speak as humans. Working software over a comprehensive documentation. Have software that is measuring and analyzing your campaigns. So whether you're using a live dashboard or you're using some analytical tool, you want to make sure that all of those conversion actions are being tracked. Google Analytics now calls those key events, I believe. And when we were working with a large e-commerce client, they were tracking page views, website visits, landing page hits, and then the only other thing they were tracking was orders, checkout. So they missed add to cart, shipping information, add payment information, contact information, right? So those key events were extremely valuable in knowing their conversion rate. So when you're talking about conversion value and how your campaigns are performing overall, these key events give you triggers to where you can optimize. So if you've got, let's call it a string of 5 or 6 key events that start from a website visit to a checkout, shopping cart checkout. And people get through 3 of them and then fall off. Or people get through 4 of them and then fall off. We can determine what the percentage of the conversions are going to be based on how far down the key event ladder they went, right? So now when we're talking about optimization, if we're seeing people are dropping off on key event number 4, we have to fix that. And we have to find out why they're dropping off. And then we have to adjust for it. We had a client that was getting lots of phone calls, really qualified leads coming in, and we were able to show them all of these leads coming in. We were able to record those calls, and when we had our client check in, his comment was, "We're not converting any business." Well, that's incongruent, right? So this goes to number 3, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. When we can collaborate with that customer, we can lead them to what needs to happen next versus saying, here's a large contract and, oh, we're not doing this, so we're not going to either perform it or we have to charge you extra for it. Well, what if the collaboration process was a phase plan? So in my example of the lead calls coming in but not converting, the collaboration point was who's taking these calls and getting them into the sales funnel, right? And what we found was there was a missing link between that incoming call and the conversion action of actually having a discovery conversation with them. So it wasn't a fault of the marketing system, and it wasn't that the customer couldn't sell. There was a definite missing link in the process. So by collaborating with the customer, we were able to discover that, fix that, and they ended up with a much better feeling around the marketing campaign because now they're converting clients. And, I mentioned earlier, if you know what the industry averages are, you can tell what your campaign performance is like. Industry average in his category was $86 per acquisition. We were at $56. So we not only brought them a better quality customer, we converted more of them, which brought down his cost of acquisition.
Great example of really using those metrics to find out where the problem in the system is so that you can fix those problems and get the results you're looking for.
Yeah. And then, number 4, responding to a change over following a plan. How many times have you run into some type of marketing campaign and they're like, oh, well, we got you a bunch of clicks, right? And that's their plan, right? And what we have to do is respond to the change. So if we see that engagement isn't happening, we have to respond to that. We don't put that on the client. We don't, as a marketing professional, we have to determine all of these things and we have to respond to the changes. What about seasons, right? Not every business is 100% pumping on all cylinders for 12 months out of the year, right? You're going to have seasonal dips. Business growth is a sine wave, right? It's not a hockey stick. The hockey stick happens maybe in a very short window of time, but it's certainly not a 12-month business plan. So we have to be very clear about responding to change and making sure that we're adjusting where we need to so that we can become better at our client's business. And I always say the client is the expert, right? They're the expert in their business. Yes, I'm an expert at marketing, but I need that collaboration in order to take their unique bundle of knowledge and make sure that it's being messaged in the right way. We had a client this morning, as a matter of fact, before the summit, we sent out their newsletter and he goes, really, this statement needs to change because it's okay, but it's not 100% accurate. So yeah, if it went out, would it have been okay? Sure. But if it goes out, is it now better? Yes. Does it present the client as a more credible resource? Yes. All of that then goes into things like how Google views your website, how Google views your information, right? With domain authority and credibility rankings. Even if you're doing paid advertising, your ability to show up as a top option has everything to do with what's happening in the background, right? Your search engine optimization tactics in your website, your article relevance. Can they answer the question to the keyword search in one click, right? There's lots and lots of details that go into that, but that's really the bottom line of this is once we work through all these steps and we pay attention to all of these principles, then you can have a very successful campaign. Here's a simple prospecting flow chart with CRM integration. So when we're talking about it, and I apologize, it looks like it's a little blurry on this big screen. But if we're taking the existing leads and bringing them to a demo page, what happens? No clicks? Did they click? Did they get the email? And so on. What about the video? Did they look at the video? Did they watch it? What percentage did they watch? We can do retargeting campaigns based on what percentage of the video they watched. So we know if they only watched the first third of the video, they missed something very important in the last 10%, right? So we want to make sure we message them with what they missed. How about a thank you? Hello, right? Next. Is it all accurate? Is the thank you accurate information? Does it take them to a calendar? Do we need to book a meeting with them? Right? Would we like them to take a survey? Right? Maybe better qualifying them if you're a highly specialized business with a unique client base. Maybe they need to take a little survey to make sure they're a good fit, right? Or go to a discovery meeting or whatever that process is for you. And then human intervention. Where do we want to put the human involved in this process? And in this example, the human involvement happens right at the onboard survey where they then get a phone call, right? They filled out the survey. It goes to a salesperson. Person makes the phone call, responds to the survey questions, and moves them through the next steps, right? And then, of course, once they convert, they get a thank you. Make sure that the information is all now in your CRM. And how are you going to nurture that audience, whether it's a post-purchase nurturing or a pre-purchase nurturing?
And I love the fact that you brought up the human element, right? Acknowledging that there probably should have some kind of human. We tend to think about marketing nowadays, digital marketing and automations, right? And people forget about the human element. So I'm really glad you planned that in as part of it.
Yeah, right. And we talk about the difference between marketing and sales. And we have clients all the time that come to us and say, we just need more leads. And we have other clients come to us and say, well, we have a good amount of leads coming in because of X, Y, and Z, but we're not converting them, right? So there's marketing questions and there's sales questions. And we have to be clear that one doesn't replace the other. So a good salesperson isn't going to replace good marketing, and good marketing isn't going to replace a good salesperson. So we have to show the harmony between those two and connect them and get them to talk together. We did a workshop for a large corporation in the Midwest, major e-commerce company. So they have a couple hundred employees. They have a 6-person marketing department. They have 20 some odd salespeople between inside and outside. And the salespeople were always complaining that marketing wasn't bringing them good leads. And marketing was always complaining that they're bringing them tons of business and they're not being sold, right? So we actually had to have a workshop that created communication between the salespeople and the marketing people, right? Because we want to make sure that sales is getting the sales they want, and sales needs to be sure that marketing is telling their story the way they want, right? So after that, things smoothed out, and we had a a really wonderful, cohesive kind of connection of the minds, and we were able to readjust their entire campaign to fit with the desired outcome, which was sales, with the marketing messaging, which was marketing. So that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. If you would like to have your story told or find out how you can take some actionable steps, feel free to jump on to freeideasession.com and book some time with me directly. It's not a sales pitch. This is a true idea session, which anyone can leave with actionable items on their list to be able to take and run with it. And whether you use our team or somebody else or your internal team, that's totally okay. So this is a no obligation consultation where we can talk about maybe you have a campaign that's stuck. Maybe you want to introduce a new product, open a new market, establish a new vertical, right? Lots of different things in the marketing world that we can address. And kind of fun fact, we have a new technology now. It's not real new, but it's just starting to kind of get into the market where we can retarget people through, I'll just say digital advertising, banner ads, IP targeting, and so on, utilizing your most effective and highest engaged social media posts. So let me let me bring that back in. So you've got a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post that did really well, high engagement numbers, and we're looking for engagement at 10% and above. And we've got a good headline. It's got a great image. It did really well. You've tested everything out, and this is one of your better performing ones. Well, how do we leverage that? And for most people, the answer is boost it, right? We're just going to boost the post. We're going to put some money into Facebook or put some money into LinkedIn and let them show it to more people. Well, what if I could take that same post, successful post, and send it to them automatically as a banner ad? So if they came into the website and we were able to match their email address, and we could then say, okay, thanks for coming to the website. We've noticed by the key events where they landed in the customer journey, and that post relates to them. We can then turn around and send them an email with that post and say, thanks for coming in. Here's some information. Is there any other way we can help you? Right. So lots of good stuff in that world. And it just helps to deliver the message in a much more credible and targeted way. So going back to our initial concept of fly fishing versus net fishing, I hope that gave you some ideas.
Well, so Joel is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that. I mentioned earlier, the whole process and looking at it from a holistic approach, right? So pulling him in, if you're running into any problems with your marketing, and bringing him in and his team to kind of take a look and say, okay, where's the bottleneck? Where am I running into issues? I thought I was going to get these results, but I'm getting these, right? You want somebody to come in there and kind of troubleshoot that. That's where that fractional CMO really earns his keep right there. Coming in and giving you a hand and smoothing that out for you, right? So you can get the results that you're looking for.
We had a really great conversation with a large product supplier that sells candy to the nationally and the grocery stores and other places. And he was trying to do all the marketing himself. And I just said to him, you know, I don't want to overstate this, but I think you're going to really appreciate having a VP type position sitting next to you, watching your back, protecting your interest, delivering your message in the right way, streamlining things so stuff doesn't fall through the cracks. They want to do 6 trade shows a year, right? There has to be a system around that. And do we not only want to capture those leads, but how do we want to retarget those people, right? And
I'm
that's
very
what drives more
appreciative,
money.
Joel, of your work in the projects that we collaborate on, and I look forward to people being able to reach out to you. We're running a little bit late for our networking time. So I don't know if you're going to be able to make that, Joel, but we're super excited to jump over to our networking time. Givermarketing.com/connect is where we're all heading right now. Literally right now, as we speak.
Right now, here we go. And then whatever channel you're watching right now, come back after the networking event because we're going to continue on with more presentations. I'm actually kicking us off after our networking event. So come on back.
All right. We'll see you over at givermarketing.com/connect.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good job, Joel. Nice work.
Okay.